Boom. We are live. We
are
are
live.
recording. All my tech is working.
Yay!
Hey, I better turn myself down. This does the cold open. Happy quarantine, everybody.
Happy quarantine.
Oh, man. As you can tell, it's the one and the only, the great and the powerful Stevie Ray Vaughan in the background. Of course, that won't be the whole time. But for those of you that don't know what show this is the Thanks
And
Drinks
pod.
Cast. That's right. What's up, everybody? I'm Nate. You might know me from some of my programs like the Nerdin' and Learnin' podcast and also Being an Idiot.
And I'm Jordan. And I've never done anything wrong.
And we are your favorite local band. Not really. I'm joking. No. We're a married couple, and this is Thanks Drinks podcast where we have thanks, we have drinks, and what do we have to drink today, honey?
Today we have a lovely French rosé.
All the way from France.
All the way from France. That's what French means.
Hey. Well, that's delicious with stir fry. Oh man, that's too good. That might
That's
be
why
deadly.
they bottle it in a liter.
A liter. It's also known as a porch pounder, or in quarantine, a quarantine pounder. The QP.
A quarantine quaff.
You fucking douche. I want to punch you in the face, but that's illegal. We don't do that. So, as we all know, gigantic quarantined elephant in the room. It's what date? What's the date today?
The
You can check. Go ahead.
28th. March 28th of 2020.
2:35 in the afternoon. This will probably be coming out later tonight.
We hope you're in your house.
Yeah, or you're safe wherever you folks are. We hope that you're safe and sound, and not doing anything potentially threatening to you and those around you. But we can talk about a lot of things, and I suppose why I wanted to do this episode today is I wanted to address quarantine. I talked about it a little bit on my podcast for my Patreon earlier today when you were doing laundry, because I can't go anywhere because of my autoimmune disease. It's great. I talked about it a little bit on a solo episode, the Nerd and Learn Nate's Corner, and the corner, one of the corners of our house, where all the nerdy shit is. And I was trying to not I don't want to say explain, but maybe walk people through what I'm doing. And it's similar to what a lot of people are doing. Working out inside, at home, ton of chores. There's no sports. There's no nothing right now. So we've had to find unique ways to not just be interesting, but also stay interested in each other. Because I'm a fucking exhausting individual.
I'm a delight. Except that I started my period.
Hey, she wasn't convinced, so she got a pregnancy test. No need.
Literally started my period. Which I feel like in quarantine, since our jobs are paused and our everyday lives are paused, shouldn't our periods be paused too? That's just not fair.
That's a dumb joke.
It's not fair though. It sucks.
Wow, you were trying to make it funny, and that was not funny.
You're rude.
Hey, in the comments below,
Oh my
let us
God.
know. Yeah, it's just shit's going on YouTube, dude.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh yeah. Quarantine, it's been interesting. I first of all, I want to say thank to all of our favorite comics and content developers for all the free funny, and trying to be I don't want to say better versions of themselves, but trying to, because everyone's mental health isn't great right now, especially for individuals that are having symptoms of COVID-19. I can only imagine how compromised and how scared they are. I can only imagine. But man, some of the best podcasts I've ever heard in my life is because of COVID-19. Because so many people, the world's we've all been in a similar situation before, with influenzas, of course, throughout time.
Well, we haven't been in a similar situation. Our ancestors have been, but
Well, sure, maybe not us, but the human race, and even animals. Sure, the animals aren't necessarily aware, but the people that have pets are trying to keep them inside as well, because we don't really know how to treat animals for this thing. So where there's a lot of species in such a unique time that are all kind of behaving the same. And some people are saying that it's bringing out the best in certain communities and certain countries. It's bringing out the worst. Look at Italy. Those people seeing.
yeah,
Because, well, they also got fucking rocked. Oh my god,
whole family's gone.
gone. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And not only are they watching each other die, but they're you can't breathe. You're literally, I don't know if it's suffocating, but you're wheezing to death.
Your lung function goes down dramatically.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who has asthma, my lung function is regularly at 80 to 85% normal people's. So it's scary when you start to have an attack and your airways close up, and that happens to me at least once a year in allergy season. And it's terrifying no matter when it's happening, who it's happening to.
I mean, I've had I don't need an inhaler, but love those PEDs, man. I love those steroidal drugs. Tell you what.
Yeah, no, not for you.
That is a no contest, sir. It's so crazy to watch someone choke, and not on food or water or anything. They're literally just choking because their biological chemistry, the pathology of the individual. What do you do? Panic, obviously. For one, you panic. Two, you calm down, and then three, you turn to your medicine or
You get rescue inhaler if you have one.
Right.
There's over-the-counter asthma medications that you can get now without a prescription. They're not as good as albuterol, obviously, but it's what you can do in a pinch, especially with so many people in this country not having healthcare.
Oh God. Yeah, when I caught Trudeau's State of the Union this morning. I told her about it a little bit, but I'll reiterate for the sake of the podcast. I couldn't believe what Trudeau was saying and how awesome their healthcare system sounds in Canada.
Well, it's free.
For everyone.
For everyone.
Are you a shitty person? Doesn't matter. You get healthcare. Hey, did you rape somebody? You still get healthcare. Hey, are you homeless? You still get healthcare.
You know what? The shittiest people in America, they do get free healthcare because they're in prison.
Yeah, there was a dude when I was a kid. You can Google it. He robbed a post office, and he didn't take anything. He robbed them just to get free healthcare in jail because he had cancer. And it's fucked up, but there's homeless people in cold cities that will commit a crime so they can have somewhere warm.
Yep.
For the whole winter, and that's. Right
Our
on.
country's broken. Our country's broken.
You're fucking telling me, man. Holy shit. I've been in the criminal justice system before. It's not fun. It's not an easy process to just go in, pay a fine, and get the hell out of there. It's due process of law, and you have to hire a lawyer. You have to do this. You have to do that.
I mean, yeah, I'm not talking about that. That due process of law, there's a reason they call it due process. Like, you gotta do shit if you do something wrong.
Well, what's wrong? I was listening to Brian Callen on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Brian made a good point that a lot of these Chinese doctors that blew whistles, there's no proof that they had COVID-19. They just disappeared. And in China, it's within the government's right to make it go away. And that's wrong.
Well, yeah.
But why is whistleblowing wrong? Is it because you're outing a terrible government and a broken system, whether medical
mean,
or judicial or otherwise.
Yeah, and it's such a closed country. They really only want the world to see a curated version of what's
Yeah.
happening in their country.
Right, yeah, hence all the anti-LGBTQ plus stuff.
Yes. I mean, one of the great things about America is our First Amendment right of free speech.
Free speech. So is the Second Amendment. That one's pretty good.
Okay.
You know, so is the Fourth, the Eighth. You know, it's pretty important. And I mean, I can keep going, but I'm not Alex Jones here. I'm just, you know, supporting the
So you
Constitution.
just hijacked my point. But thanks.
Well, freedom of speech. If I had to choose the Bill of Rights or the Constitution or free healthcare.
Why would you have to choose
Because
that over free
Canada doesn't have the
healthcare?
Constitution.
They have a constitution.
Yes, but they can surveil at leisure.
They also have free speech.
Well, the language is more unique.
Well, yeah, the language is different, but they have very, very similar rights to us.
It's not that easy. I'm
Okay,
not a law professional.
But I don't understand your point. You don't get one or the other. It's like, well, we can look at whatever you're doing, or you can get free healthcare.
Do you get both in Canada? Is that why Canada's better? Because you get both?
It's just a weird one or the other that you brought
in America, that seems to be the case. That's all.
Well, we have a broken system.
Hey! I mean, broken, it was never in place in the first place. I mean, maybe once upon a time when you had a doc that would make house calls, and you're not. I don't know what the insurance system looked like in the early 20th century, and even the late 19th century. I'm not sure what insurance looked like, but it seemed like you paid what you could, and if you couldn't, then the doc would just move on because there's plenty of sick people, plenty of ways to get money.
As far as I know, there wasn't that sort of health insurance system set up 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Definitely not. Like, it was, if
200
you could,
years ago was 1820.
if you could pay, well, you said 19th century.
Late 19th century.
But if you could pay for a doctor, you got a doctor, or if it was a good person, you got a good person.
True, and people knew how to develop their own medicines.
Yeah.
I
mean, not the same.
An apothecary. We've been our supplement stack is fucking crazy. And in it we have cherry bark syrup, which an apothecary would have developed in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. Colloidal silver has been a thing since silver was developed into eating tools, and people realized the value of silver. That's in our stack. Not to mention MCT, vitamin C,
Echinacea.
probiotics, echinacea for immunosupport, and turmeric, of course, to promote recovery and beat inflammation. Now, of course, we need to get some fish oil in there, omega 9, 6, and 3, for not just optimization, but to make sure all your valves in your heart are cleared, especially in this weird time. So those of you with shitty teeth, you gotta take your omega 9, 6, and 3 because the plaque builds up in the heart, especially if you might be at risk, considering COVID-19. But our supplement stack now is, I mean, it's like we're fucking athletes. I can't believe what we're taking, but I've never felt as good as I do, and my recovery is, amazing. Mind you, we don't really training to failure seems to be a common problem.
Counterproductive, because then you have way too much time off.
Yeah, you have to take too much rest time.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you do that to yourself? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. That I have no answer for.
Well, I don't need an answer. We can have a conversation. You don't train to failure.
No, I don't. Do my classes every day.
That's right. What classes are you doing?
I'm doing bar workout through Beachbody right now. And it's amazing. And it's kicking my butt every day. It's 30 minutes a day where I don't think about what's happening in the world. Because I'm too busy thinking about breathing.
30 minutes sounds so little time, but I've seen you do it, and it's explosive.
It is optimized.
It's plyometric. It is. It's really dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to train to do that 30 and then another 30 on top of that of maybe just cardio or whatever, god damn, you get fit real quick.
There's no breaks.
Right, and man, it's lifting and it's so interesting. Plyometrics, it seems, the more explosive, and if you have endurance, not only is your metabolic rate rapidly increased, but you can go for your endurance rate is much longer. You can sustain for a much longer amount of time. And I have to wonder if soon enough you'll be able to do an hour, do a 30 and then another 30, no problem. I guarantee you can.
I mean, probably by the end of the program, since we just hit phase 2, and I was just feeling comfortable with phase 1, I was like, oh, I can do this. I could probably add a little bit extra. And then phase 2 hits, and it's kicking my ass all over again.
That muscle memory, it's really interesting. Martial arts, I've been noticing quite a few similarities between the bar blend, particularly what you're doing, because there's all manner of bar blend workouts, right? That a lot of the cardio stuff where it's a lot of leg extension seems really rooted in martial arts and dance because they're very similar, right? They're one and the same.
It's based off of ballet, hence bar.
Right.
B-A-R-R-E.
Right. Hey.
Yes.
Hey, what a concept, fucking jackass.
It's based off of ballet, only it's fitness oriented as opposed to ballet.
Right, being a dancer.
Yes.
Now, what I've noticed about the bar blend that I like the most is that there's a lot of ice skating references. Because and we've been ice skating, well, not lately because of COVID-19. And seeing it in practice and feeling it and doing it, that's when you realize, oh, that's why skaters do all legs all the time.
Yeah, the hopping side lunges.
Yeah, fuck. So that's the key to being a good skater. Is you gotta have a hop, because if you have to land and you're like doing a Lutz or even or a quad Lutz. Don't get me wrong, those are difficult. How about this? A triple axle, and if it's not solid, what does every skater do? They stumble and they hop out of it.
Yeah.
It seems like the hop is your most basic, your bread and butter. If you're about to stumble, hop, get your equilibrium, and have your balance back because of the hop. And I've seen you almost fall, and then you kind of perk. I'd say just a tiniest toe hop, and you catch yourself from eating shit.
Yeah, you have to find your balance in it, which is why so many ice skaters, they have to do ballet as well, because there's a lot of ballet moves in ice skating, right. And it teaches you
pirouettes, arabesques,
leg extensions,
lunges.
Yes,
that's right. The death spiral. I can only imagine what workouts it takes to get good at that. Probably squats and a lot of shoulder and back.
Yeah.
Because the person holding and doing the swinging, oh my God, that if you're not careful and you're going too fast, I can probably dislocate your shoulder pretty easily.
Oh, probably.
And that's I wonder what these bar blend individuals do that to on top of the 30, because it's only 30 minutes. Like, that's not really much.
Okay, you do it.
But what I'm saying is that you can go lift for 15 after, or 30. So not just the bar blend develop that muscle development, because it's all the muscle groups. But then go do a workout and isolate muscle groups. I wonder if because some of the ladies that do it are fucking jacked in other places that they're not using.
That's because probably the ones that you're seeing, they're professional dancers and professional yoga instructors.
So they have to lift quite a bit.
Their own body weight.
Jesus Christ. Body weight, man. I can't. All these assholes in gyms, don't get me wrong. Push heavy, I get it. Push and believe, right? Brody Stevens. Much love, champ. I get it. Don't get me wrong, but it's so easy to injure yourself. And what I've noticed with doing body weight for quite a while now, since I finally got back into it because I could, this goddamn foot. If you can't lift your own body weight for a long period of time confidently, in my 20s, I didn't have any business picking up heavy weight. Like, what the fuck were you thinking, dude? That's how you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Be like, maybe, I don't know. You don't need to be Captain America and hold a goddamn helicopter, You don't need to worry about Bucky flying away in a helicopter, all right?
It's just gym vanity at that point. You're like,
right? Oh, fuck.
You're looking at this other dude and you're like, I can pick that up.
Right. I remember, like, when I was 21, I think, at a Gold's Gym in a place that I was living at. I won't mention it. I put I think like 245s on a bar and added I think another 10 pounds and I forgot about the added weight.
Yeah, the 40-pound bar.
Yeah, and I went to lift it and I got it up, but I almost crushed myself. And this dude, who nice guy, he saw and was like, he helped me and was like, hey buddy, I'm not trying to be the gym rat rude guy or whatever, but don't be in a hurry. You almost crushed your chest, right? Take it easy. Start small. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, look at you. You don't have a chest. You don't have shoulders. You barely have. You're really scrawny. Like, what were you thinking, man? Like, come on, this is dumb. You idiot. Who are you trying to impress? And it's that nice guy. I think Jason was his name. And he was right. He wasn't trying to be and he wasn't bro about it. And he wasn't trying to be. He was just trying to communicate. Look, you could really hurt yourself. And that's when I realized,
and just grabbing heavy weights, that's not going to help you.
It's not going to develop muscle.
No.
Idiot. It's going to tear tissue, and that tissue is going to tear, and then it's going to take forever to recover, and then you'll finally be able to lift maybe a little heavier once you're recovered. Just
lighter weights for more reps. That is how you build muscle.
Exactly. I love resistance bands, man. I can't believe, the pull and the push that run all the different ranges of motion and how creative you can be. It's resistance bands are, I don't know, that it feels like a more complete workout because you're engaging a lot of muscle groups even when you're isolating.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed with what a lot of dancers do, to get those really, really well-rounded calves that you have to explode from, they use is it a ribbon that it wraps around your legs?
That's another resistance band.
Yeah. And you just, on your toes, and your ankles with your knees pointing out as long as you can. Woo! That fucking burned.
Yeah, the resistant loops hurt, but they're really good for you, especially for like thigh workouts and
lower glutes, right?
Yeah, ab abductors.
Wow.
And
so
inductors.
Core
and also for your hips.
Oh, you gotta get those hips, dude.
Yeah.
That's it. Gotta get the hips, bro.
No.
No, Pauly Shore. All right, see you, Pauly. Get out of here.
That's not social isolating.
I'd love to have Pauly Shore on one of my shows. Are you fucking kidding me?
Obviously you would.
That's Mitzi Shore's. That's one of her kids. Rest in peace, Mitzi. Much love. Big bucket of win. Can you grab the wine, please?
You have an easier.
I do have an easier path.
Yeah.
Entertain the people. Tell them about the bar blend.
Tell them about the bar blend. Jordan's Fitness Corner. Well, I mean, it's an easy one to get into because, like I said, it's 30 minutes and you can do it at your house, which everything should be done at your house right now. Please stay inside. And yeah, it starts off easy.
Talk to the camera, don't talk to me.
Talk to the camera, don't talk to me.
Come on, man. You gotta sell this shit. What?
You gotta sell this shit. This is your only job now.
She's not very comfortable talking about it.
No, not yet.
Why not?
I don't know.
Well, let's talk about why you're not comfortable talking about something. Man, I sucked at public speaking for a long time. I wouldn't say I'm great at it now, but now I'm just more comfortable with looking stupid and looking foolish. Not being a fool,
You don't say.
but willing to look silly or dumb. We don't have a burp mic. All right.
This is my burp mic.
No, it's not. You have to buy your own goddamn mic for that.
That's rude.
I sucked at speaking for a long time, and I've been playing music for I don't know forever, and I'm great with a guitar in front of me because I don't need to talk. I can just jam, and once you take away the or whatever the instrument is that I happen to be decent at, because I'm a good singer, but that's not talking, that's singing. That's different.
It's someone else's words.
Or your own, but either way, it's not. It's not like you're not doing stand up or a speaking engagement. Whatever the conduit for the speaking, some people aren't good at it, and it takes. I mean, look out. Open micers are a great example, right? You suck until you don't. You get a few good jokes, you get a decent 5 minutes, then maybe you can start hosting. And then maybe get a decent 15. All right, then you get a decent 20, then decent 30, then you're featuring. But that takes, 5 years?
Yeah, generally. Seems like.
So you have to, it sounds like bombing is kind of, I don't want to say the path to victory, but the path to victory is, there's a lot of failure.
Well, you hear so many comics that say that they love bombing because it teaches them what works and what doesn't.
True. Or what doesn't, what can work if, every decent comic or, anybody where they, or performance artist, I guess I'll say, because everyone records their sets and listens to it. And that's key, man. If you're not listening to, the night before, or the matinee or whatever, even musicals and theater production, you have to, because you need notes. When it's live theater or even improv. I remember doing theater in high school. I won't, and no one's ever going to find this content because I made sure to get rid of it. I remember, rewatching because I had the camera set up. My mom filmed for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I only ever saw like the opening night recordings of when I did theater, but I was also I was little.
In Sacramento?
Yeah.
At Citrus Heights. Shout out to Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson. Yeah.
Brie Larson is not from Citrus Heights. She's from Sacramento.
Whatever.
She did do River City Theater Company when she was really little. So her and I were in the same theater company, just not at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yup.
So you kind of learned what was good and not good about speaking then.
Yeah, and I was always ensemble. I was never a lead role because I'm not very coordinated. I don't have a great singing voice.
Big chicken.
I was just always really, really cute. So if there was a speaking role that needed a cute little kid, that was me.
Chicken. You're a big old chicken.
I wasn't a chicken. I wanted the roles. I auditioned for all of them. That's rude.
I was I sucked at a lot of sports when I was a kid. I played them, but I was fucking horrible. So now I'm too big of a chicken to do anything with sports again, other than martial arts. Because tapping out's fine. That's how you learn. Jiu-jitsu or even Muay Thai. All you're doing is holding pads or working on ones and twos and knees and elbows, right? But it's not the same on a team sport. You have to be kind of decent at throwing a ball or receiving a ball.
You also don't like when people tell you what to do. And
It depends. Martial arts is another story.
I'm saying in a team sport.
Fitness is another story. Team sports, I don't know. I'm not a fan of needing to rely on. Don't wrong. Relying on information is different than relying on someone else's performance when you're playing. That's a totally different concept than learning steps in a dance or learning steps in combat or or just training in whatever capacity with combat sports. But when I watch people play softball, it's a great example. Like, oh my god, some of these guys are great. Some of them are fucking horrible. You have no business being on the field.
They're doing it for fun, though.
I know,
and for exercise.
Exactly, but it doesn't look like much exercise.
Well, for some of those people, it's the most exercise
get.
they get in a month.
Right, and don't get me wrong. Running, I love running, but just and I love sprinting, and I get that some people it's kind of their version of being explosive.
Yeah.
Because when there's a hit, you can explode to the next base, and that's great. Same with cricket or baseball, but it just seems. What if no one really hits the ball?
Well, you also get so intense about sports and you don't like losing. So
I fucking hate losing.
If your team wasn't very good, I
would quit.
You would get so mad and just walk off. And I'd be sitting there on the sidelines looking around like, I don't know. I'm not his master. I don't control him.
I did join a team for like a few days, and then I realized these guys are garbage, and that's when I realized this is not for me. I'm gonna move on, and next thing you know, it's I've found not just fitness, but wanting to be good at fitness and really explore what the body's capable of. And it's so interesting what fitness is capable of for the individual, because it can lead you to, to being a fan of everything.
Yeah.
A fan of every sport, a fan of every nerdy outlet that might, promote jobs or cool content, or people, staying busy and promoting a better mental health, and maybe helping people that, I don't know, are stuck in a wheelchair, and how they can escape is by reading a story you wrote, or something funny that you did, or something interesting that you did. And that's what seems to start a lot of journeys towards people being able to contribute to other people's lives is fitness at the end of the day, well, whether it's inside or outside.
I think also people like what they're good at.
Fucking true, man.
It feels good to be good at something. So even if you thought you would never like something and you try it and you find out you're good at it, you're like, this is my favorite thing ever. I'm always going to do this because I'm good at it.
True. I'm amazing at guitar, and I'll do it forever. I won't ever be the best at it, but I'm pretty fucking good. That's right. You folks can find out on my podcasts. I do play breaks, and also I close out with jamming. Anyway, but even things I suck at, I'll be doing forever. Yeah, I'm not a great skater, but skateboarding, longboarding, but I'm fluid, and I'm good at stepping and moving with it. Skimboarding, I'll do that forever. May not be good at it for now, but I love it. What seems to be, per your point, when people just find things they love, whether good or not, they're gonna stick to it forever. Ice skating, I'm here for it for the rest of my life. I totally want a kid that does ice skating and MMA. That would be.
Man, this list is getting longer and longer.
And gay as fuck too.
Okay, you can't choose that.
Or fluid or queer or whatever. Definitely not. That kid's not gonna be straight. That's for sure. But again, everything that I love, I want to share with everyone that I love.
Which is very sweet.
Right. It's bonding.
Yeah.
But you can't make a human that you want to bond with.
No.
Literally make someone just to bond with them.
No.
That's not
making a friend.
do. Westworld over here.
But I mean, you of all people should know from being raised by your dad that you can't force your kids to like what you like.
Fuck no.
I mean, you can try.
There's one thing quarantine taught me is that I really, really insist on liking the things that I like. And if you don't like them, it's going to be a difficult relationship. because I talk about the things that I like constantly, and I like everything.
You do. And that is not accurate.
I like everything that I like.
There you go.
I don't love that, like, and that's, I was talking about that on my podcast earlier, is being supportive, even if you don't, if, don't wrong, if it's something that's, like, hurting people, you don't be supportive of that.
No.
Like, torture porn is not something to be supportive of.
No.
Sex work is fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Have fun, you crazy kids. Make your money. But at the same time, like, whoa, not everything needs to be supported. And there's a fine line in productive, interesting, monetization of content, whatever it is. And a hobby that's taking up someone's time just for them to fill it, and
Like collecting stamps.
that's monetizable. If you're monetizing
if you're
it,
just collecting, then no, it's not.
right? And I know we're wrong. There are some stamps that are worth, quite a bit of money. Of course, I know about it. But if you're just collecting them and then you're gonna die, then what the fuck does that achieve for anybody?
Yeah.
What are you doing, dude? Come on. You mean to tell me that you spent all that time and there's multiple books just collecting dust, maybe on a shelf, but probably in a box after you die. No one knows that they're worth money. You mean to tell me that you didn't, like, hey, if you're ever in a tight spot, these things are worth a lot of money. You can sell them. You mean to tell me you didn't leave instruction? Or do you just, like, that sounds like some Ebenezer Scrooge shit.
Oh, well, it's Grandpa's stamps.
Right? Like I bet you CDs that are much like vinyl that are mint condition. People are going to hold on to their CDs forever because one day they'll be worth a lot of money.
Beanie Babies.
Oh my God. I can't believe.
That's the biggest scam. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are still a handful that you can go on eBay, and they are worth
Quite a bit.
thousands of dollars. The Princess Diana bear one.
Whoa.
Thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
Do you think
It's worth that
Do you think
much.
if you owned that and sold it, would you donate a portion of that to one of Diana's funds?
A portion.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'd donate all of it, but probably should, because anything to do with Princess Diana, I don't know if you should have that.
But there are some
you fucking
that
shithead.
at the time they were super coveted, like first edition ones, and now it's like, cool, we'll give you $15 for it. That's $5 more than you paid originally.
Yeah, that's, man, much like gaming, ever since you've not just taken an interest, but kind of really started to understand the value of gaming. Mm-hmm. There are some games that are just impossible to find, and if you get a hold of, not just decent condition, but mint condition.
See, that I know nothing about.
Oh
but
my God! So I can't believe that a mint condition Final Fantasy II at one point was worth like $300, and that was on Super Nintendo. And I played. I put, I think, in one playthrough 100 hours into it.
Jesus.
I was in elementary school. I fucking love Final Fantasy. Everyone knows that. We can't wait for that remake coming out soon.
Hopefully.
It is. It's not delayed. It's gonna be better than Death Stranding. I'll tell you what. I'm not gonna deliver fucking mail for hours.
Spooky mail.
Oh. But the value of collectibles, that is actually, that's an interesting point. I haven't thought about that, because it takes forever to get a decent collection.
Yeah.
And then it's actually worth something. Mm-hmm. But until you have a decent collection, then that hobby, it's not monetizable in that moment. So that's maybe an unfair measurement.
I think about
much like vinyl, a vinyl collection.
Your dad's vinyl.
Look at High Fidelity, right? She's gonna sell all that vinyl for only $20.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Spoiler.
that was spite. That was a spite sell.
It's her spite store.
Yes, that was her spite store.
my dad's vinyl.
Sorry, bud. That's going to Matthew and Kenzie.
I'm gonna whatever, we'll go through it together. There's quite a few pieces that I want, and others that I don't need. Because vinyl, it adds up, and it's fucking heavy. It's a lot of it. It gets hard to move after a while, and I can't stand having to move too much shit. But vinyl is worth. It's worth the weight and potential injury going up and down stairs, but whatever it is. But again, just it's such a hobby that it's kind of a money pit.
Yeah.
Look at Fleetwood Mac. Some of their vinyl is fucking expensive.
Your dad has like 3 or 4 of their records.
Ugh, I know. What is it with Fleetwood Mac that people just insist on owning their records? What is it?
I don't insist on owning their records, but they're
records,
amazing.
Digital, whatever.
They're amazing. Like, their music it stands out. A lot of older bands, you're like, yep, this sounds like from when it was recorded.
Right, you can imagine all like the flowy long sleeves.
Yeah.
The flower skirts and shit.
Yep. But Fleetwood Mac, there's a reason they still put it in tons of media these days, because holds up.
I'm making sure it's recording still. And yeah, it is. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. Running multiple programs on one laptop, it's a little risky, folks. You got to pay attention. But vinyl, I'm oh man, I love vinyl. I'm a vinyl fiend. It's just unfortunately it's a hobby that it's hard to monetize.
I wouldn't say you're a vinyl fiend. You don't buy it every chance you get. That's a fiend.
Right. But it's like a junkie that's in recovery. I'm in recovery from purchasing far too much vinyl.
So next time we go to Goodwill and you're looking through the vinyl, I should be like, no, not just one more hit.
Well, the last Goodwill we went to, I did get Morgana King. I may rest in peace. I got her record because she's in a lot of films I love, Godfather series, and her voice, it's just haunting. And I saw it, and I couldn't believe how cheap it was and how decent condition the record is in. I couldn't say no. But insert any amount of words before and then place couldn't say no in. That's the same fucking story every time. Come on. Who are you fooling? Nobody. Da-da-da-da-da, couldn't say no. Da-da-da-da, couldn't say no. Da-da-da-da, couldn't say no. Like, come on. Eventually,
say no.
Right? Come on, dude. You can't kid her. All right? Stop it. And that's I don't want to say a problem, but a concern of mine with hobbies that shit and content that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Marvel Theory videos, like come on. Information is great, but there's a point to where information, whether it's musical information, whether it's a YouTube video, whatever, even reading, you can only read so many articles. Information is great until it consumes you, because eventually it takes a lesson to find out what is and is not junk, or when you're not, I don't want to say obsessive, but maybe being a little overzealous.
Well, you also have an addictive nature and an obsessive nature, and you have an obsession with theory videos.
I love theory crafting. Theory crafting is it's how you write good story, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's
I get that.
It's a cornerstone of writing.
I get that, but if you like it so much, then why don't you make your own?
I have the software for it. I can't do it.
You do.
That does sound like a lot of fun, actually. Looking at you, Emerge the Awesome. That's right, buddy. Coming after you. Nobody can take that guy's throne. What I've learned in quarantine is
Stop futzing.
All these things that we're discussing is that we haven't gotten to sports really. Is that I love all these things a lot. And I've missed playing music, and it's nice to be doing it again. but I really miss the shit out of sports, especially hockey, because it would be playoffs right now, and then that means one thing: the road to the Stanley Cup, and it's not happening. And the international figure skating championships didn't happen either. The world WHO World Women's Hockey, I believe, was same time as International Figure Skating Championship was canceled. That was canceled as well, and not to mention MLB and every other like semi-pro sport.
Well, MLB still has time, hopefully, as long as everyone stays at home.
Season would have just started.
Yeah, so they still have time.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The World Series is what's going to happen to all these individuals, not on the field. I'm not talking about just the players. I'm talking about the people in production, staff that works at the stadiums and arenas. You also have your everyone that does the social media and marketing for all these teams. So when people are checking their Twitter and updates and apps, it's not being done at a booth. Those are people. Those are people literally updating contents in an office somewhere.
Luckily for people who are running the social media and advertising, they can still do all of that. They're doing COVID-19 updates, and they're saying, hey, we're, tune in at 9 a.m. and you can watch last year's World Series. And they're still working. They're still
true. People, people in programming, scheduling, coordinating.
Yeah,
they still have jobs, sure. But I feel for out of anyone, I feel for the people that work at the stadiums and that work, the vendors.
Hopefully,
because they make so much money in tips.
Yeah.
Oh my! And the bars that surround the arenas, look at San Jose.
They're gonna get hit worse than the people who work at the stadiums.
Oh my God! You know how easy it is to go. We've done it. SAP. Wait, were you there? You weren't there. So when I went to see Sharks,
a better story would be when we went to the Giants game for your birthday.
Oh right, I try not to remember that.
Well, yeah, but the bars around there, and
yeah, oh yeah, that's that I couldn't believe how many bars were just packed full. Mm-hmm. And you could, from those bars, you can still hear the roar of the audience from, what is it, SBC, Pac Bell, AT&T? AT&T Park.
Pac Bell.
I know, that's like the aughts. What are you talking about?
That'd be like if you threw out like singular.
AOL Park.
AOL is still a thing, surprisingly.
They pivoted. What I can't believe for, and what breaks my heart for all these people that are in the same market as these franchises, their local economy and per local as in per business, they're fucked.
We're all suffering though. That's the thing. 3.5 million people are out of jobs right now, and that's right now. The rest of the country hasn't been put on lockdown yet. Lockdown's the wrong word.
Yeah.
That's active shooter.
That's not accurate whatsoever. And that's the worst part about the shutdown is
it's not a shutdown either.
Yeah, the shelter in place is the wrong term. That's for an active shooter. Sheltered in place is when you're supposed to barricade yourself inside.
Well, shutdown means that everything's...
Not per me, per Dr. Drew.
I understand. But shutdown is also the wrong word, because shutdown is like when the government shut down. The government is certainly not shut down.
But what's being used is the shelter in place. And I don't know if I love it or if I hate it. I can shelter in place, no problem. But that's normally when there's, sports. When it's sports season and playoff season for ice hockey, that I'm generally sheltered in place anyway because I'm needing to watch these games, keep up, so I can not only provide coverage, but maybe kind of make the road to the Stanley Cup more interesting for myself, because you never find out. You only find out who's going to get there by watching the games, right?
You also love being home.
I fucking love it because I can work out, do chores, cook, and there's cook as in do prep, and it's just so much easier than having to leave and go to, unless it's for jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai. I don't know. I don't love gyms, so I'd rather be able to work out at home and not have to deal with people not wiping things down, being gross, having to go to a bathroom where I don't know what the fuck just happened in there, and when pretty women walk by, I'm a man. I'm kind of a basic individual. Sometimes I linger and I don't realize it, and that doesn't happen.
It's gross.
It's disgusting. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying it's one of the things I'm trying to avoid, because it only takes once to like see that person again, and have an awkward transaction.
I mean, I've been stared at the gym
Hard.
plenty of times.
Right?
Hard. Jesus. Plenty of times, and you might want to do that off camera if you're putting this on YouTube.
It's for adults. Yeah, if your kids watch it, you're fucked.
Well, you gotta put explicit.
I will.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, you definitely notice, and it bothers me. I don't take it as a compliment. I know I'm wearing tight clothes, but that's so I can see my movements at the gym in the mirrors.
Sure.
It's not
studying range of motion
for anyone else.
Right. But then creeps.
Creepy creeps.
Hey, creeps! Don't be creepy. All right, but it's
PSA.
just stop it. Just stop. For the good of all creeps, stop it.
Oh my God, dork.
Nerd. You better watch your mouth. There is a difference between nerd and dork.
No, they're totally synonymous.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah. What about it? You're stuck here with me.
I know.
You're in here with me.
Did you just Rorschach at me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me.
That was so loud.
that
was Punisher.
That was Punisher. There's a difference. I really hope John Bernthal comes back as Punisher.
I mean, they'd be stupid not to.
That guy is made for that part.
Yeah. He even looks like the drawn character.
It depends on the iteration of Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Depends. But what I did see and what I did like, there were quite a few frames in Punisher, especially when he's overseas and just fucking shit up and wearing his when he was serving the military, not his Class A's, but his combat garb.
Uniform.
Yes, right, his uniform. Hey, marijuana, kids. It makes you forget the word uniform.
Don't smoke. Unless you're over 18.
20,
Is it 21 now?
21, but you should probably wait till you're 25, born female, born a male. Probably wait till 30. Because frontal lobe development, according to neuroscientists.
Don't smoke until you're an elder.
Sorry, people. It's true.
Gen Zs, any Gen Zs out here, don't smoke weed.
All my Gen Zs.
Not my Gen Zs.
No, me either. But Frank Castle, when White Buffalo's mother was playing in the background. Mm-hmm. Fuck. There were a few panels taken from a few frames taken from panels of a few comic books, but that scene, that's when it made me cry, definitely, because it's that's a brutal.
It's a heavy series, though.
Season 1 was amazing, and Ben Barnes did great as Jigsaw.
I keep telling you, you need to watch season 1 of Jessica Jones, because you've seen season 3.
Season 3 was awesome.
Did you watch season 2 with me? Or you watched the last half of season 2 with me?
I liked season 2. It's just so heavy.
Season 1...
Reminds me of myself a little too much.
Season 1 is insane.
Why?
David Tennant is the
You're
villain.
on a podcast. You should probably talk about why it's insane.
David Tennant is the villain. Oh my god, I'm trying to explain and you just keep cutting me off. Stop being a cisgendered white male.
Oh, wow. What a virtue signal. She's so woke.
I could be like Bert Kreischer's wife and daughters and just call you a misogynist all the time. The patriarchy.
Ah, Leanne. I love
the patriarchy over here.
Hey.
But David Tennant as the main villain is...
If you don't know who David Tennant is...
he is the... 11th Doctor? No, definitely not. 9th Doctor from Doctor Who.
Honey, assume that I don't know what you're talking about.
He was also in Harry Potter as a villain as Barty Crouch Jr. in Goblet of Fire. But technically he was only in that movie for like 15 minutes. But incredible.
And he also did with Martin... That's the Amazon Prime series where he
Broadchurch?
where he was a demon and
Martin Sheen. Not Martin Sheen. Why did you say Martin?
Not Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Yes.
Excuse me.
He was a demon in Good Omens.
Yeah, Good Omens. Fuck, that was good.
And he was also in the BBC thriller Broadchurch.
Iconic series for the BBC programming.
He's been working nonstop for 15 years now.
I mean, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
In the UK, the UK Commonwealth. Yeah, if you're not Australian, you can still get a job in Australian television, whether in production, acting, editing, whatever it is, because the UK Commonwealth that they're one of the greatest empires for a reason, because the Queen did some fucked up shit. That's why. British Petroleum. Hey, have you heard of it?
I like that you're saying the Queen like she's been Queen forever.
Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah.
She's been...
I know, but she's
been the matriarch for quite a long time.
I understand, but she didn't establish Australia as part of the UK.
No, she didn't
She's
do
not
that.
old.
No, she didn't do that.
Fuck.
But there have been legislations in place to just keep it going.
Well, yeah.
And I haven't seen Papillon yet with Charlie Hunnam.
Papillon.
Whatever.
Papillon.
Papillon. Hey, Papillon, how you doing? Hey.
No.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've read about the story and the actual dude that that the gentleman that it happened to. It kind of dives into how broken the judicial system is for not just Australia, but the UK Commonwealth.
It's a remake of the original Papillon.
Yeah, with award-winning Rami Malek as well. I've heard it's amazing.
I know the Prisoner wine company, well, not Prisoner, by Orange Swift, which is a winery in St. Helena. They were known for their wine, The Prisoner, which they later sold.
We had it, right?
We never had The Prisoner, but they sold that recipe. And the winemaker, he ended up making another wine that he named Papillon. And had the label was...
We had that one.
Yes. The label was Knuckles, and it said Papillon across, like, prison tattoos.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we have had that one.
Yes.
It was fucking delicious.
It's incredible. It's a Bordeaux-style blend. Changes every year. I used to work for them.
Yeah, I live with this. No wonder I like wine so much now. Fucking love wine now. Speaking of prison and wine, oh my god, the story of wine throughout the years. If there's one thing quarantine has taught me is we love wine far too much. I put on so much weight because my foot was broken. I couldn't move. I probably could have worked out through it. Just been really careful.
You could have done upper shelf.
Yeah. abs.
We
Come on.
have weights.
We have. There's tools for this. And unfortunately, I just put on so much weight, but we were drinking so much wine, and it's so easy to get a diverse palate and learn. The app Vivino. Oh my God, it is such a great resource, and you can
Non-spawn.
not a sponsor, but I do suggest it. Vivino, Vino, essentially. I do suggest it because if you have a grocery outlet or a place that has a decent wine selection near you that
Total
isn't too
Wine
expensive,
and More, Bottle Barn.
right? If you can really find some amazing wine it's peer reviewed. The wines are peer reviewed, and the wines are proven and founded to be decent by the distributors that do the purchasing, and it's a great way for people to share wine knowledge, and more importantly, maybe develop some kind of community. And sure, there may not be wine country near, but you can also find individuals that like wine and maybe have an autoimmune disease, and you can't have gluten.
Yeah.
So what do? You turn to wine.
And I mean, just a quick shout out to wine country and locally owned businesses here in Sonoma County and Napa. If you are lucky enough, fortunate enough, and enjoy wine, maybe look into becoming an annual member at some of our amazing wineries around here. They have had a tough 3 years, 2 fires, and now the shutdown due to COVID-19. So if you have any interest in wine and supporting local businesses, even buy a gift card and give it to your wine-loving neighbor. Hey, Francis.
Hey, buddy.
It would really help out our community because we are a tourism-run county.
Oh yeah, that's what are you gonna do? Get out of here! You're distracting.
He wants to be on camera.
He wants to do a podcast.
Oh my God.
PAWED. Coining it. That's right. Fucking douche.
Hey, buddy.
Wine country is ran by the service industry. We've done a ton of wine tasting because you're in the industry, thank goodness. But without it, I fucking hate this place. God, it's so boring here. It's a sin. It's a sin.
Unless you want to come have a vacation here, then please do. It's great for a vacation.
It's great, and it's not cheap like when I was growing up. It's gentrified. It's impossibly different. I recognize it because there's a lot of same buildings, but I don't recognize it, and that's fine. I grew up, and so did you. And what's interesting is when you arrive in Sonoma County as an individual, you don't leave the same person.
I've been here for 6 years now.
6 years.
6 years. And ready to not be here anymore. But it's honestly...
It gets old.
It's been great. I love it. I just feel like I've done everything there is to do.
There's not much to do.
There's nothing new.
There can be, and there's I wouldn't say a few comedy clubs, but Sally Tomatoes, the
Shout out
Barrel Crew,
Barrel Brothers.
Barrel Brothers. Yeah, they also have a podcast. Steve Osborne and the other guy,
his partner.
He doesn't like me. I can't imagine why. I haven't really spoken with him at all. But there's some people doing decent things at the Flamingo Hotel, the Laugh Cellar. It was a comedy club, but unfortunately it folded like hot laundry.
Three Disciples does comedy every Wednesday.
Yeah, Steve Hofstetter was just in town. If you're a Steve Hofstetter fan, takes also knowing that he's getting work in diverse markets. But I do suggest checking him out on YouTube because that guy is monetizing being on the road. He did Europe, I think, for like a month, and he went through like 10 different countries.
Jesus. I mean, to be fair, it's like going through 8 to 10 different states here. Because the countries are so small.
Yeah, right. Wait, hold on, buddy.
I mean, when you put California up against Europe, we cover like 4 different countries, something like that.
You know, that's a good point. And I always get like, oh wow, you did so many countries in Europe. Like, that's like a few states.
Put Texas on Europe.
Yeah, right. Oh, you played Texas? That's cool.
Right.
All right, so we're an hour in. Go us. We do need to discuss something that we did very recently.
Can I have a pee break?
Yes. Hit it.
Okay.
Gives me time to show up. Love it.
Yeah, I'd also just like to say I know I've been coughing. I don't have COVID-19.
Not sure about that.
I have allergies.
Uh-huh. It's not proven.
It's not. I might have had it like a month and a half ago, but I can't get tested. No one can get tested unless you're an NBA player or a Kardashian.
Oh, jeez. See what I have to deal with? See this?
We
See
have
this?
we have a friend in Colorado who has all of the symptoms,
Oh, yeah.
and she can't get tested.
Yeah. Ashley, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Much love. Sorry, Casey Ashley. Much love. You guys are the best. That's the weirdest part about this virus is it'll kill you,
Yeah.
and you won't know it.
It's killing people our age now.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm acutely aware of that, and it's terrifying.
Yep.
I'll tell you what.
Okay, what were you trying to bring up before I had
to rudely interrupt.
tea?
It took us 4 days, nonstop, and we worked out each day. Took our time, and took breaks. But it was so goddamn fun, and I'm so much more of a fan now because of it. We watched the entirety of the MCU, and it was up till Far From Home because it's the most recent release. Wow.
Everything just pieces together so beautifully. They
Couldn't believe it.
laid the groundwork from Iron Man in 2008.
Let's see. No, not you, not Dose for Dr. Drew. Let's see. Wait, no, just go to, yeah, I got it. Sorry.
I got it.
Because we're going to go through each.
Also, we weren't drinking until 5 p.m. every day.
Taking our time.
We're being good. Wait till cocktail hour.
Yep, don't be a dick.
Unlike today.
Don't be like yourself when you were in your 20s, ruining people's lives. Um, we started with, of course, Iron Man. 2008. And, of course, how can you not love Iron Man as an individual, but as a character, and what Robert Downey Jr. did with Iron Man. Oh, I fucking love that movie.
Well, I mean, it was also Robert Downey Jr.'s own redemption story.
True. The demon in the bottle story.
Yeah.
That Iron Man arc, it seemed to kind of come through a little bit. And I loved that even because rewatching it and having Endgame happen and Far From Home, there was no throwaway dialogue. None.
No.
Zero. Everything was intentional as fuck. And that's I mean, maybe that was Marvel, just like, you know what? We have Hulk coming out next year, which is much better when you look past the Edward Norton of it all. And then followed up, we have Thor coming out after that. Maybe, let's try and make this happen. Let's at least, and they were cleared, I think, till the Avengers.
Well,
the first Avengers film.
Everything was hanging on Iron Man.
The success of Iron Man.
Yes.
And it not only knocked it out of the park, but it made another sport.
Do you remember where you were when you heard they were releasing an Iron Man movie?
I do remember. I was in Colorado. No, I wasn't there. I was in California, right?
2008.
I was in California. And my brother...
Well, you would have heard about it in 2007. So
yes.
You graduated
high
school the year before.
Yeah, 2016.
You mean 2006.
2006, right. How old am I? Ah!
Quarantine.
Quarantine pills, kids. I took DXM earlier.
No, he didn't.
I heard about Iron Man. Yeah, well, we all heard about it. Yeah, and Comic-Con was aghast over it, and RDJ was already starting to talk about it a little bit here and there. And next thing you know, it was released, and I could not believe the response and how much money they made with the inflation rate. That made, I think, $100 billion.
I think I saw the trailer in theaters before, I want to say, a Harry Potter film.
Oh. Google it.
Well, it would have been 2007.
Google it.
But I know I saw it with my mom because we both grabbed each other's hands and started screaming.
Freaking out. You got that?
No.
This is a podcast, you have to talk about it.
I understand. Yeah, so Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix came out in 2007. So I definitely saw the trailer for Iron Man before the Harry Potter came out. So it was a midnight premiere, so I was doubly excited. It was around my birthday, and I was like, oh my god, they're doing comic book movies!
Can you back off the mic when you do that?
Sure.
Jesus. What's wrong with you?
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, no shit.
That's nice.
But what I noticed and what I really enjoyed about Iron Man is the through line that he was. Tony was always, once he realized that, I'm, my actions led me here, and my actions are gonna get me killed. All the tech he designed,
mm-hmm.
and all the war machines that he designed. You realize that by Endgame, he flipped that equation.
Yeah.
He essentially designed himself as a war machine, and what did he do?
I like that you keep saying war machines as opposed to machines of war.
Well, yeah, whatever. I prefer it. It sounds good. I loved Iron Man, and it's definitely in my top 10. I don't know if it's in my top 5 of MCU.
Let's keep going.
Next is Incredible Hulk, and that came out in the same year, 2008. So Iron Man summer.
I mean, what can you say about it? It was better than the Eric Bana Hulk.
There was a lot of Easter eggs, and Edward Norton did a great job. It's just unfortunately Mark Ruffalo wasn't available, and that's Hulk. He's Hulk.
You have to have the nice guy with the other side. With Hulk, it's the Jekyll and Hyde. You have to have the good doctor and the big bad.
I agree, and what Edward Norton was trying to do when he was on Rogan's podcast and he was talking about Marvel and not shitting on it, thank goodness. Unlike, when he ruined his career, when he tried to roast Marvel. Do you remember that?
I do. He's had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah, right? Like, maybe you shouldn't have done that, buddy. Nobody wants to be...
He's had 12 years.
And he made some comments that he was trying to, have a focused hero, as opposed to this just chaotic individual that, that he was trying to develop the story much faster than what Marvel wanted, and that's not really true to the story of Hulk at all in the comic books, no. and unfortunately it doesn't really fill seats, because who wants Professor Hulk early on?
Nobody. We want to see the big guy smash.
Exactly. And we want to see the big guy be called the big guy in Hulk and like it, as opposed to Banner, and he freaks out.
And we also want to see Banner feeling that guilt and the anxiety and the human emotions that you don't get to see with Hulk.
That and we finally see them agree on it in Civil War, that this is not good for anyone. We need to go away. Yeah. At the end of Civil War, what happens?
Well,
finds a jump point and ends up in Sakaar.
I think that's also what we were talking about like 40 minutes ago. You like what you're good at?
True. And more importantly, Hulk Banner, Dr. Bruce Banner, was trying to keep people safe. Mm-hmm. And the only way you can keep someone safe, in Hulk's case, is if you're just literally not on that planet.
And Hulk, when he's calm, for Hulk, he doesn't seem to want to hurt people. It's just when he gets into that monstrous rage. Yes. Because he seems to control it pretty well on Sakaar. He has an outlet.
I think Hulk is the most relatable character out of any Marvel character.
Well, for you.
Out of anyone, because we all have, when we're... Not everyone has rage and is monstrous, but everyone can feel a bit angry and monstrous and want to do terrible things. And sure, a lot of people don't do terrible things, but the want to hurt is in everybody.
Well, then I'd say...
The want to smash is in everyone.
Then I'd say the same could be said with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
In her grief.
Smash.
Yes. But she channels it into generally good.
Well, that can be argued. When she says no more mutants in the comic books.
Well, that's in the comics. We're speaking MCU.
Oh, true, MCU. And MCU specifically. Hulk, I do... I wish they could have gotten Mark Ruffalo instead, because it would feel more like MCU.
Then we could have kept Liv Tyler.
Yeah, but Marvel, the MCU isn't what it was then. What it is now, it's much different.
Yeah, we don't have girlfriends attached to everything.
God, that fucking that's so annoying. I get it. Some people are in relationships when this shit goes down, when their origin story begins. Not everybody's in a goddamn... Some people just got out of one, maybe. I don't know. Maybe someone like Doctor Strange, who is a notable asshole, has a few people that have sex with him, but that's about it. There's not a girlfriend.
Even I forget her character's name, but Rachel McAdams, they hadn't been together for like 2 years in the Doctor Strange movie.
They were just banging.
No.
No. Come on.
No, she was dating other people.
Well, doesn't mean that they don't bang now and again.
He had plenty of others, I'm sure.
Plenty, right? Come on.
Dr. Douche.
I'm a doctor, and I'm a douche.
Which is also a medical procedure.
Incredible Hulk. Go see it. Check it out. Maybe you'll see it through a different lens when you do your rewatch, because where Endgame was and where Incredible Hulk was, there's a beautiful story told. There's a lot of really interesting threads connected, so I definitely think it's worth a watch. And let's move on to Iron Man 2, 2010. Loved it.
Apparently.
I fucking loved Iron Man 2.
Thought it was okay.
I mean, I'm going to have whips when people are racing. That's a little dumb.
Nate got so annoyed with me because the main villain has, like, electric whips. And they're just... I understand it's true to the comics, but there's better weapons. And every single time he's just like, I need my whips. I need to whip that guy. I'm going to whip him. Whips.
I have whips. And I want my bird. Let me whip my bird. I'm pulling pulling up the IMDb right now.
Don't whip the bird. I mean, Mickey Rourke did a good job.
Yeah, and he got in great shape, too.
Yeah, it's just... He had a very one-dimensional character, and he liked his whips.
I wouldn't say that. The dialogue, it's hard to miss, but there are a few lines that curve him out.
You mean it's easy to miss?
Right. It's easy. Excuse me. It's easy to miss. If you listen, there's lines of dialogue that's curved out and really adds more depth to the character.
Classic comic book revenge. Your father did something mean to my father, and that fucked up my life, and so I'm gonna do something mean to you.
And
it's very straightforward. There's no undercurrent. It's just like very straightforward revenge.
But it's not that that's not a bad story. Unfortunately, it's kind of one of those. It's like, a hero story with revenge. I get it.
I mean, now in the age of Endgame, we expect more. But in Iron Man 2, we were only 3 movies in.
True, and when he got to develop the Iron Drones for each division of military in the U.S., I thought that was really compelling because he's an engineer that's just as good as Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. And he could have easily developed his own iron suit, but he chose not to because he saw the flaws.
If he had gotten the education,
indeed,
that Tony had gotten,
well, he did. He was a nuclear physicist. You're forgetting.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of movies all at once.
And don't get me wrong, and I understand that. But what Iron Man 2 did that Iron Man 3 and Iron Man 1 didn't is it allowed, because Tony Stark was dying, right?
He was throwing a lot of fits because he was dying.
So we got to see a very and not just impulsive but caution to the wind version of Tony Stark.
I really
not calculated because he was going to drive that car himself. Like, he knows how to drive a fucking race car. Yeah, I know how to fly fast and whatnot, but was he trained to operate that machine that goes 200 miles an hour? No. He was already dying, and what he was willing to do at that point was, have as much fun as possible and, hopefully be able to change the world while you do it.
Well, what it let Robert Downey Jr. do as an actor is tap into his rock bottom. And put that into Iron Man.
Yeah, when he was just doing as much cocaine as he wanted.
He did all the things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's great.
It was not great. And he would tell you the same thing. Like, coke, meth, heroin. He was drinking himself dead, basically.
only like 2 of those things sound fun.
Well, he was doing them all.
Coke and drinking.
He
That's
was.
fun stuff.
Uh,
Hey, don't no
don't
kids.
do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs, kids. From your old pal
Unless
Uncle
they
Nate.
are medically prescribed by your doctor, and it's a good doctor.
Our natural pathologist. Naturopaths are cool. Iron Man 2, it got on IMDb, it got 7 out of 10, and I definitely give it an 8 because it's a little more introspective and it makes an individual consider their mortality and how they would behave.
I'll agree with IMDb. I'll give it a 7.
7?
Yeah.
Gross. So that takes us to Thor.
It was a fun romp.
I like Shakespearean dramas, but Thor felt a little flat, and Chris Hemsworth just didn't look right, being that bleached.
Yeah, they went full comic book, which meant blonde eyebrows, blonde beard,
strong features.
Not how. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is a blonde, but he has brunette facial hair.
Yeah, he's more of a dirty blonde.
He's still a blonde.
Right. I'm not disagreeing, but he's definitely like it's darker. You know, his headshot it looks more brunette. If you look on IMDb,
most adults that you meet that are naturally blonde have dark eyebrows.
Truth. And I'm looking at. I pulled Thor up on IMDb. It's hour 55 minutes, and I did not enjoy a second of it, and especially with the Eric Selvig starting to realize that, oh my god, this is actually the fish out of water, and like this guy is nuts. That story is funny, but when people start to put it together, and Natalie Portman is playing an astrophysicist, and it's whoa, what?
Yeah,
hold on.
They put some really fun science into it, especially letting a woman be a scientist for once, which was great.
Not just a scientist, an astrophysicist.
An astrophysicist. And then, you had the goofy intern.
Yeah.
That she was
Kat
a
Denning.
poli-sci major. Science. It's political science. And I feel like that is where Thor in the first movie really shined, is in the comedic moments where they actually got some story going, where you were paying attention because it wasn't just heavy and Shakespearean and family matters. It was like, hey, let's give you some story with a set of jokes.
Yeah, that's Ragnarok. Taika Waititi, he did break the he figured out the code that works well. The beats that Thor works best, especially in Endgame, because you get the humorous, but when he sees his mom.
I mean, we'll get to it, but
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
What I did like about Thor is that Loki's been Loki the entire time, and we got to see Loki develop and then die. And what we're going to see in the Loki series is a version of his development, but from a very different perspective.
He was also a real petty dick in the first Thor.
Yeah, and the whole throne, blah blah blah, the whole throne thing, kind of like, ugh.
You're not my real dad. He pulled one of those.
It got a little annoying, and like, but when it was originally released, it was probably kind of cool, but compared to where Loki was at his untimely demise.
When he finally died.
Right?
The final death.
I think what's interesting with his development overall is that we really got to experience a full-fledged god of mischief that was not just mischievous with like trying to get a throne, but mischievous with getting stones, trying to rule, trying to cause wars, and trying to lead a massive army. We and in the original Avengers, we got to see Loki lead an army and fail, and then we got to see him get a hold of stones.
I mean, to be fair, in the original Avengers, he wasn't actually leading the army. He was just like, go wreak havoc. I got shit to do.
True, yeah, because you need the army to cover up your actual mission.
Yeah, he wasn't
because
leading the army.
They're Infinity Stones, and of course you would want a massive distraction.
Anyways, we'll get to that.
Yes. Thor, I like it. IMDb gave a 7 out of 10, and I definitely agree with that, especially because our boy Clark Gregg.
I also agree with the 7 out of 10.
And that takes us to Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yes, give us a period film. I was so pumped.
That post-credit scene, that's one of the best because you get to see...
Skipping to the end, damn.
Well, remember that shot in Endgame where it's Cap's eye and he's jumping, this kid from Brooklyn who still feels like he's in the 50s. Which
I am going to do a drawing of.
What I do like about a callback to Cap coming out of the ice and running in Times Square is that he's same occurrence, but it's not
something he's never seen before.
It's not wonder. It's not amaze. It's not this is cool. It's this is terrifying. I'm afraid. What's going on? And that's what that post-credit scene is. Not just a great way to tie the MCU together and lead us to Avengers, but it's a great seed to plant for an individual that is adapts and evolves with not just combat, but is forced to adapt and evolve with all the culture. It's such a great callback that it's one of those that if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it because it's unfortunately Marvel's so full and so jam packed that you can't get every Easter egg.
Okay, but going back to the film, this was your very first time doing a watch of it. And you're not a period film person.
Oh, I am. I am.
War movie. So this was a period war movie.
Yeah,
technically.
I love that shit.
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan. Oh, I'll cry.
So what
for
did you
hours.
think? I want to hear.
Well, let's see. The description reads: Steve Rogers, a rejected military soldier, transforms into Captain America after
You don't need to read the description.
Super Soldier Serum, but being Captain America comes at a price as he attempts to take down a warmonger and terrorist organization. Being a cat that was scrawny his whole life and got called that, it was cool to see the hero story and development, and, I could do this all day.
You also got to see him with Bucky when they were kids.
Yeah.
And not kids, but...
When Bucky was clearly going to go on to much better things than Steve Rogers was.
Yep.
But the development of Steve Rogers was so well written. Let's see, the writers were...
Bucky comes off as kind of a douche when you first meet him.
So, same writers as Thor Dark World, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Because and Joe Simon and Jack Kirby from the comic books. Same guys that also wrote Endgame, Thor Dark World, and Infinity War. The whole idea all along was to have Steve and Peggy end up together. So that they, the long fucking game.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers sees her die, and then Steve Rogers go back in time to be with her. Right. And knowing that and seeing those seeds in place was mind blowing. But with Red Skull,
but you saw them fall in love.
Yes. And the how it should have ended and the pitch meeting were absolutely they were on point with. But Steve, you can just set it on autopilot and parachute. You don't need to do this.
He didn't have enough time to look around for a parachute, and he didn't know how to set it on autopilot because it was a ship he had never done before.
What really stood out to me with this film is not only was the blocking amazing, but the graphics were well designed, and they really got to flesh out Steve and Bucky. And then Bucky, unfortunately, his fate is not kind. But it sets it up so well because Civil War,
we'll get to it.
Sorry, Winter Soldier, when that happens, master storytelling.
Again, we'll get to it.
Well, of course, we'll get to it.
We're talking about the period piece.
And we get to see the Howling Commandos. which
Yes.
is so much fun, and there's a lot of representation in it, which is great because Kenneth Choi, as one of the few Asian performers in the MCU, you
Right.
know, that was
Also, we forgot to call out there was an Asian performer in Thor. Yay.
yeah, oh yeah, one
One amidst all the Caucasian men and Idris Elba.
and Idris Elba. Feel better, Idris. And a few more things that I liked from Captain America was Hugo Weaving. He wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Marvel, but he really did bring a classy element to a villain that was incredibly one-dimensional,
Campy.
laughable,
Red Skull. His face is red and he's angry.
and he's not just a Nazi.
Oh my god, he's literally anger from Inside Out.
And that's
You just got that.
yeah, that took a minute. That's absolutely right. That's not untrue, man, and it's unfortunate that such a intricate villain, was such a missed opportunity. But you know what, we did get an incredible event that occurred in Endgame with Red Skull. So
Yes, we'll get to it.
we can only be so angry. So let's go ahead and move on. IMDb gave it 6.9 out of 10.
What? 6.9?
I give Captain America: First Avenger. I give it a solid 8.
Yeah, I'm giving it an 8.
Chris Evans, Haley Atwell, and the design.
I was about to say, can we talk about the costuming?
Exactly, that costume department. Oh my god!
Like,
hold on.
ever since that movie came out, I have wanted to cosplay as Agent Carter in her uniform with her gorgeous victory curls.
Here, let's see. Hold on. What'd you like about her? Keep going.
And she's just a fucking badass. When Cap first gets his powers and there's a German spy that's in the room and he escapes with some of the super serum, and she's standing in the middle of a busy New York Brooklyn road, and she is a fucking crack shot. She's a badass, and she gets mad at Cap because he gets in her way when she's about to shoot the guy.
Anna B. Shepard, the costume designer, costume department, known for Inglourious Bastards.
Beautiful.
Schindler's List.
Beautiful. Maleficent. Beautiful. Okay, so she's...
Spider-Man: Far From Home. Overlord, which was awesome. If you're a Wolfenstein fan, I do suggest it. Fury. Her catalog is incredible.
Okay, so
man.
she's incredible.
So, per your point, there's a reason, and she's doing the... she's doing the costuming for the Untitled Spider-Man sequel.
Oh, way! Good for her.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get
she's
that Marvel job.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah, man, that if born in 46, January 18th, 1946.
I've always been kind of bummed my mom didn't go into movie costuming. She could have.
Yeah, could be a lot more fun too if she was. Oh,
we're not gonna tell my mom to listen to this one.
Yeah. And that takes us to our the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Fun as fuck, really well written, and it sets up everything amazingly. I think that a lot of people dismiss it because you have to compare it to Ultron and then Endgame.
It was the largest
cinematic event
of its time.
Yeah, man, it brought together a universe. People were like, what? Yeah.
It would be like
We're not fucking around here. This is Marvel.
it would have been like if there was an Aragorn movie and
Outside of Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
yeah, like if there was an Aragorn movie and a Hobbit movie and a Gandalf movie, and they went, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, and we went, what?
That's actually not a bad idea.
I mean, if Peter Jackson had known,
Right? If you want to know how to do it a little differently,
and if TV had been different, then you could have gotten
television.
yes,
Absolutely.
You could have gotten
Disney Plus.
an Aragorn. You could have gotten an elf, and you could have gotten a Hobbit. You could have gotten a wizard, and then been like
do an Aragorn series that
Yep.
leads up to the Fellowship. You can
I
do
mean,
a Gandalf
Aragorn-
series that's also known as
the wizards,
The Hobbit.
the wizards.
You gotta do and the elves.
I mean, the hobbits don't need their own series because they're just like farming and fucking
Sounds
and
boring.
eating.
The elves and hobbits at once, because elves and hobbits are
Yeah.
they cool together.
The elves weren't exciting except when they were in war. They're just pretty. The humans are just fucking.
Porn.
Humans are fucking shit up because they're humans.
Sure.
Humans
So
love
Avengers.
fight. Anyways.
You know, it has all your favorite players. Of course, you know, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, Jim Renner,
Which we saw in Iron Man 2.
Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Clark Gregg, Colby Smulders, Stellan Skarsgård, Samuel L. Jackson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Paul Bettany. I mean, there's so many individuals in this particular film that, you know, it leads to Infinity War and Endgame so seamlessly, because we find out, you know, early on that, you know, we're not just dealing with a Mind Scepter. We're not just dealing with, you know, some pretty rocks. You know, we're dealing with these things that are going to be causing, you know, well, we all saw it, you know, mass amounts of devastation. That there's what, like, how many trillions of individuals that in this at 10 trillion, I think, was the number in Thor 2 Dark World, and 500, you know, 5 trillion get decimated, and Avengers leads so seamlessly. It sets the blocks into place for phase 2 and 3, and then what happens next? We get the end of phase 3, which has one of the most sought after cinematic events in the history of cinema. Avengers, without it, MCU would not be the same.
I do have to say, one of my favorite scenes in Avengers is when Black Widow recruits Hulk, because you actually get to see her scared.
That is a dope scene.
It's a great scene.
Well, one of the few things that can kill her.
Yeah, you don't see her scared very often. You see her act, but
The Russian. Yeah, when she's getting all the info she needs.
Yeah.
Right. That. Oh man.
I mean,
She looks so hot in that scene.
okay. Anyways, seeing her actually be scared, that is a. Since we hadn't seen Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk yet, we went, okay, who is this guy? We know he's Banner, but
Who is this individual?
exactly.
And how they wrote it was perfect. Let's see, the writers, Joss Whedon, Zach Penn. I mean,
Yeah, this was
we should fucking know this.
This was Joss Whedon directed and written.
So, how they got to design that scene specifically was, the tension was tight because we all knew that it wasn't just Black Widow there, and we all knew that if anything were to occur, what are you gonna do? Stop the Hulk?
Well, if
How
Joss
do you do that?
if Joss Whedon knows how to write anything, it's an extremely strong woman and tearing her down to her most basic instincts. because he did that.
Her most vulnerable.
Yeah, he did that with Buffy for 7 seasons.
Would you say we saw a version of Buffy?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely wrote Natasha Romanoff as a Slayer.
That does make sense, especially when needing to align your interests with an individual that might not share yours, but you have mutual interests that you need to work together for an amount of time.
I mean, she fell in love with 2 vampires, so Buffy.
But Buffy, not Natasha Romanoff.
We haven't read all the comics.
Oh my God.
We don't know.
Jesus Christ.
No, Natasha just fell in love with a rage monster.
I mean, Doth Mother Know You Wear Her Drapes in the Park was easily quotable, and there's so many plot points and beats that occur in this film that...
Oh. The old man in Germany...
Covering Baby Yoda.
telling Loki that we do not kneel to men like him.
Oh yeah, that Jew.
Yes. That Jew.
My man, standing up for what he believes. Yeah, that was bold, and it made me even stop and think, oh goodness, they're trying to tell us a real story here.
I cheered in theaters when he did that. I was so pumped.
White woman, woo!
Jewish woman.
Oh, of course, I wouldn't marry Shiksa. That's right. What else about Avengers did you like? Did you not like? The battle was amazing. Battle for New York. The way the Chitauri lost, I thought was then stupid, but that's how
it paid off.
Right, because...
Damn, that echoed. Stop.
Because, it turns out the Chitauri is one of the easiest, enemies to beat, because Thanos needs to have control in case they uprise.
Well, also, we get, another Tony Stark self-sacrifice.
The first one. And then he gets the PTSD.
Not the first one.
First Avengers self-sacrifice.
Iron Man 2, he was willing to sacrifice himself.
True. And Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Well, Iron Man 3 comes after Avengers.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's the next one. And I do think Avengers was unique to itself, because each Avengers film so far has been unique because the team is unique, and more importantly, the story being told. Because even in Ultron, Tony Stark's line, that's the end game.
I mean, Avengers was also the big tester. Can we have this many main characters?
Can we afford this?
Not just can we afford this, can we make it dynamic? Is it going to work, or are people just not going to care about, a Hawkeye who's just shooting some arrows, and we've only seen him in Thor? Are we going to care about the Hulk because we haven't met him yet? Are we going to care about Natasha because she has no powers, and we only met her in Iron Man 2? It was a big gamble.
And we didn't have that many films to go off of.
Yeah.
Because after Avengers... Avengers got 8 out of 10. I give it a solid 9 out of 10 because it was. I
agree.
It was one of the most bold.
No, 8.5.
All right, whatever. You're a woman. You're wrong.
Oh my God.
I'm joking.
He is joking.
But Iron Man 3 was in 2013. I fucking love this movie.
It is
so much
underrated, and I will fight for this.
Why is it underrated?
Well, first of all, it ties heavily into S.H.I.E.L.D., the series, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, if you haven't watched it, now is the time to binge.
We're big fans, kids.
I got him into it.
That's right.
In the first 6 months of us dating, he said he didn't want to watch it, and so I made a point to be watching episode 1 of season 1 when I knew he was coming home. So that he had to watch it with me, because I was like, I just started watching this episode, and you know what? He loves it now.
If I have the chance to meet Clark Gregg, I will do that. Unfortunately, WonderCon isn't happening for I don't know how long. So there's not really a chance. But if there's one thing Shield taught me is to give credit where credit is due. And due to being a Shield fan, I've met RJ from Marvel. RJ at RJ Agent of MU on Instagram, and really that meeting him was kind of like the first step.
Well, you've met him on the internet.
Well, right, but either way, it was kind of one of the first steps to really understanding what that it's not just actors, it's not just performers. There's people behind camera. There's people in makeup.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty, and there's so many, and post production. There's so many jobs that need to occur for one IP to be fully realized and fully
100%.
developed. That Shield, some people call it stupid.
It's not.
It's not stupid at all. In fact, Xena, you could say some of Shield's earliest seasons are on par with Xena, and kind of like the low production quality. Sure, that might be a little true, and that's fine.
Well,
but Jeff Loeb,
they weren't given that much money, so it's not their fault.
Jeff Loeb did a damn good job.
Yes.
And next thing you know,
also don't talk shit about Xena.
I'm not. I'm just saying that that maybe some episodes of The Witcher remind me of Xena.
Oh, 100, and I still love it. That might make me love it even more. We're not talking Witcher today.
Toss a coin, motherfucker. But Iron Man 3, we got to see Tony without a suit, or where he had to cannibalize his own tech, and where he had to overcome PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
We got to meet Harley Keener, which I really hope we get him for Iron Lad, or a version in the Ironheart series that is coming to Disney Plus.
We finally get to see Tony and Pepper together. Like together.
Right. But she's on the fence because Aldrich Killian is, ooh, he's a genius.
She's got a boner for geniuses. Who can blame her?
She totally has a boner for geniuses. But what I do like with the Harley and Tony relationship is there's a through line of parentage that wasn't necessarily the best.
Or there.
What is Francis doing?
Sorry, our cat
Can
is...
you handle that, please?
Scratching. No, he's going potty.
That's gross. I have to move that thing. That shit was distracting.
Speaking of distracting.
Hey, cocktails. I'll do a whiskey. Oh, see that face? From Bear Boone Spirits, kids. Come on, go back. Iron Man 3 is underrated, and Iron Man 3 is definitely one of... Robert Downey Jr. got to do a lot with that part. And I think what a lot of people might be missing from seeing him do his thing in that particular film is maybe overlooking he kind of had to relearn and adapt and adjust and evolve on the fly without the help of AI. And when you're in the suit, it's pretty AI heavy, so he had to rely upon his own intelligence, developing the glove and the heat and having to navigate extremis and all those crazy fuckers. What's fun about that film is that Tony was out of the suit. He was wearing like versions because he could call upon parts to summon out of nowhere, right? All he would have to do is extend in whatever capacity. What's fun about that is that he made a makeshift Iron Man hand early on in the film, and that he just because Tony didn't have the tech that he designed initially, that was the most optimized version of the tech, doesn't mean that he's not Iron Man. Because it could be anything that he wore that was inclined to have repulsor technology. That's Iron Man as well. It's just it's what's interesting is that he was doing such retro tech, and a technologist through and through, but he didn't necessarily need his lab, and didn't need to necessarily have the workspace he's normally accustomed with, and that's what people kind of miss with Iron Man 3, is that it's such a stripped down version of Tony Stark that I think it's one of the more, I think it's fun as fuck personally, but some people might disagree. But that's just me. That's my take on Iron Man 3, and we're gonna go ahead and move on because for some reason IMDb isn't pulling up Iron Man 3. I really rely on it as a resource, and it's failing me. I don't know why I would do that. Son of a bitch. Let's see. Right, and Tony's his PTSD is he's plagued with worry and insomnia since saving New York from destruction. Tony Stark now is more dependent on the suits that give him his Iron Man persona, so much so that every aspect of his life is affected, including his relationship with Pepper. So when he loses the suits, boom. And that's that, kids. I definitely think it's one of the best. What do you think? Let me know. Hear those cocktails? Cocktails. Hey. All right. And that brings us to the big divide and a lot of fans of Marvel. A huge divide. Some hate it. Some love it. I personally, I love the shit out of this film. Ho ho.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Yes.
Whiskey.
Yes, for whiskey. What else?
I just wanted whiskey.
Well,
I just wanted it neat.
it's a fancy drink.
I wanted to taste the Bare Moon whiskey out of San Francisco, California, by itself.
Enjoy what I just made you.
Oh, I will. I'm sure I will. But I'll have one neat before we're done here.
The whiskey sour.
Hey, it's got that egg. Francis, what are you doing?
Getting fancy over here because I'm in quarantine.
You're what?
In quarantine?
You're in quarantine.
We're all in quarantine.
Hey. Boom. All right. We are at one of the most divisive films of Marvel.
Oh, I have thoughts.
All right, well, hurry up.
I'm trying.
There's a lot of dead air. I can only fill so much time.
Talk about how great you think you are.
Hey. Wow. All right. On IMDb. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
She back. I made whiskey sours.
Hey. One of the most divisive films and the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It divides people. It's for some it's hard to watch.
I liked it.
For some it's easy. It's easy to make fun of, but for others that did enjoy it, from our friends Christopher Yost and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely and Don Payne and Robert Odette and Stan Lee, of course, Larry Lieber, Jack Kirby, Walter Simonson, Thor: The Dark World.
I liked it.
I thought it was pretty rad. It made me cry. It was very sad.
Well, you cry with all things that have to do with
Dead moms.
Yep. I didn't want to say it. That was your choice.
It's fucking true, man. It's fucking
It
true.
was touching. It definitely didn't have the levity that Ragnarok or even the first Thor.
True. Well, and you know what the writers were setting up was we were getting ready for Ultron, and
yeah,
Ultron was heavy-handed as fuck.
To be fair, for everyone that hates Dark World, I hadn't seen this movie until I'd seen Endgame, and so I very much enjoyed Dark World because there were parts where I went, "Oh, that's the part that they had in Endgame." I was like,
right.
Oh, in this part, Rocket is trying to do this. And in this part, there's Fat Thor talking to his mom.
Yeah.
And so I think I enjoyed it more because I had like a behind the scenes.
When Thor's walking around showing Jane Foster, Asgard.
He's talking to his mom.
Yeah, the hammer was elsewhere. He didn't have it.
Jock Thor, Bro Thor, Fat Thor.
Bro Thor. Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
PTSD Francis. Thor.
Dark World was. I like it. It's much more. It's much more Shakespearean, of course. Yeah. And I try to be aware of when I like things that are like that because I love musicals and I love theaters, so I can easily get caught up in my bias towards liking those things, and it feels very theatrical. The way it's filmed, the way it's shot, could definitely translate to stage really well.
I was raised with like theater and mostly watching period films and stuff like that, and so it was not out of my wheelhouse to watch. That I was like, oh, cool. I grew up with Norse mythology, and this was a comic book rendition of that, and I enjoy that.
That's true. That's a good point. And that with Dark World, visually, wow.
Oh, it's stunning.
Especially an HD monitor. Oh my god.
You get Christopher Eccleston, the
OG Doctor Who for the reboot.
For the
revival.
For the reboot.
He did great. He was a convincing dark elf. And the dark elves, I love when Thor goes, woo.
Yeah.
Because it's such a like, woo.
Because it's like, oh, you're spoopy.
Oh, I'm a dark elf. I'm scary. Like, not really. You're just strong and you do a lot of weird things. And I guess that's cool.
To be fair, the Harry Potter films were still going on and we weren't that far away from Lord of the Rings.
True. And I did notice myself kind of thinking, this is a little Lord of the Ringsy.
Yeah, because that's still sold at the time. You got hot Chris Hemsworth being all shirtless and stuff, and they fixed his facial hair.
Yeah, and the color
and
of his
the
hair.
wig.
Yeah.
That
was his real hair.
No, that was wig.
No, Dark World, that's his real hair.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Look it up.
You can look it up. I have one thing going.
Okay.
I have to keep this show together.
Okay, well, I have to prove my husband wrong.
That's her only job on the program. That's bullshit. Honey, you're on a podcast.
I know.
Talk.
You should talk.
I'm taking a drink. Come on, talk. What are you Googling? How are you searching it?
I literally looked, was Chris Hemsworth's hair real in Dark World? And nothing is coming up because they're like, that's a stupid question.
On Google?
Yeah. It's definitely a wig.
I disagree. Either way,
In the comments below, tell Nate how stupid he is for thinking that Chris Hemsworth grew his hair out past shoulder length for a role. By the way, do you know how long it takes to grow your hair shoulder length?
yes, I've done it.
When?
I was a teenager. It took a long time.
Exactly. And how many years between Avengers and Dark World? Because he was definitely wearing a wig in Avengers.
That's a good question.
That would be, what, 2?
Fair point. Anyway, let's move on from this not interesting part of the conversation. Dark World really did, especially lean to Lady Thor. Because when Natalie Portman reached out at the end of the film, like we were just thinking, like, man, if we would have seen her try for Mjolnir,
She wasn't worthy yet.
well, we don't know how she's gonna be worthy in Love and Thunder. Are they gonna go completely worthy with, the astrophysicist discovering Thor, helping Thor, and then, choosing to do better for her community?
I think she's going to be bestowed
and then get
the
married,
power.
get pregnant, lose her son and husband at the same time,
No.
and then get cancer, and then
They don't have the time for that.
that'd be the best story, though.
But they don't have the time for that. First of all, we have to have them rekindle their romance, maybe.
No.
But
no. That's just it. Jane Foster doesn't marry Thor. She marries a human.
oh, okay.
And remember the Lady Thor story? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I never read it.
You've heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things.
And all the Marvel theories? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You're fucking stupid.
That's... You see how he talks to me? Do you see how he talks to me?
God, you're such a rookie. And the Lady Thor story, she meets a dude, they get pregnant, they have a kid, and her and her husband die in a car crash, and then she has cancer, right? And
her and her husband die in a car crash. So how does she get cancer?
No. Her son.
Okay,
and her
you
husband,
said her and her husband.
Her son and her husband die in a car accident,
Okay.
and then she has cancer,
Okay.
and every time she uses Mjolnir,
I know that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well,
How do you forget the origins of that?
Oh my God, calm down.
It's baffling.
I have a lot of other things to think about.
Oh wow, well, hey. Apparently I'm not that interesting.
You're not the one that's like reading me comics. It's you put stuff on the TV, and I still have a lot of other things to talk about. I still do work at night.
I suppose I do too. I just make sure that my work is relevant to podcasting. I'm not saying your work isn't irrelevant. I really.
That's right. I make sure we got a roof over this house.
Well, right. So do I. Jesus, lady. But I really, I don't know. I'm just so into what the MCU is promoting and all the trends is that I really try and pay attention to the narratives that are going to be occurring. And if we can get Lady Thor and her experiencing the worst of things to become worthy, and to be fair, how the fuck is Mjolnir going to come back? We don't know that, right?
We do.
How is Mjolnir going to come back? Unless it's an alternate timeline.
Captain America dropped it back off when he deposited
But
the...
remember in Ragnarok when,
Oh, yeah.
broke it?
Yeah. Well, we don't get Mjolnir again unless...
So how is she going to wield Mjolnir in that case?
Well, Thor's buddy with...
Alternate timeline.
Can still go back to the star and they can fix it.
Right, because the shards...
It's not that hard. They can just fix the mechanism.
And in Endgame when... rather in Ragnarok when Hopkins... when Odin says, remember this place. it's the same place that, Hela shows up, smashes Mjolnir, and then I imagine that's where New Asgard is developed.
Yeah.
So maybe one of the Asgardians, easily picked it up, and then next thing you know, you know, here are the shards of Mjolnir, Thor. And
Well,
boom, we have the shards of Mjolnir. Go back, start it up again.
I mean, I just want to call him Tyrion Lannister. What's his name?
Eitri.
Thor is going back into space. He can bring the Guardians and be like, yo, Eitri, what you need to fix the star.
Right. And
it's not that hard. And Eitri can do anything as long as he has the right materials and the right...
No hands.
He can help. He has buddies. They can bring people to him.
True. And I'm sure they can fix his hands.
Yeah.
That. And maybe even give him new hands.
Apprentices as well.
Right? You don't have to
like
be
it's not that hard. Hey, do you want to learn how to create a god killer? Come be my apprentice. 1-800 Eitri.
1-800 dwarf. Oh no. That is not the phone number. Please don't call that number. Oh my god. That's horrible.
Okay, but it's gonna be pretty simple to fix that problem specifically because
True.
I could only imagine that the first thing that Thor is going to want to do is to create a new Mjolnir. And he's gonna probably do a lot of meditating and talk to his dad in the afterlife and be like, what is the Odin power about? How can I make it so that the new Mjolnir is only Odin worthy or whatever?
But
that's how legends work.
The problem with Odin being dead, is it about worthiness at that point? Is the spell still in the stone that or whatever the particles are that defines Mjolnir? I would assume, just putting it back together, Thor might put it back together and say that this forever wants to be worthy. This is for you. Because maybe Thor doesn't...
Well, he's going to bestow that power upon Jane as soon as he finds out she's sick, and that's how we're going to get Lady Thor.
Yeah, probably a version of that. And
she's going to be mad because she doesn't want a man to save her, and it's going to be a thing.
Oh my god.
But she's going to be fucking powerful.
And if she has cancer, then it'll restart her treatment over and over. And Natalie Portman has signed on for a 5-film deal.
I don't know how many, but it's multi-film deal.
Which is only good because that means we're going to be able to see if she ends up sacrificing herself and her power or, comes time to retire, for the character and maybe, whatever she's comfortable with, I suppose. It's only going to be good for not just Natalie Portman and her bank account, but maybe I think all of nerddom.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to promote cosplay, self-respect, confidence, and
hopefully it'll make it not so male-centric.
The idea of worthiness. And we'll not Thor necessarily. Thor's just a conduit of worthiness and being strong. Thor can be a lady's name too.
I mean, in the nerddom, there's so much misogyny, unfortunately, and so much that's not the way that it was written, and it's like, but it actually was. And so you're okay with, like, we have Thor core over here that has God, I had his name.
Beta Ray Bill?
Yes. We had Beta Ray Bill. No one had a problem with him. And he's a fucking alien, but he's a man. Male presenting alien. But as soon as you got a woman in charge, you got the dudes so mad. So mad. Look at how much they spammed Captain Marvel.
Well, Helmut Zemo is in Thor Court too. Helmut Zemo is the guy who, you know,
I know who Zemo is.
did bad things to Bucky.
I know who Zemo is.
But Dark World, great film.
I liked it.
Little
I give it a solid 7.5.
Watch it. And IMDb.
It holds up.
It gives IMDb gave it 6.9.
Especially after watching Endgame, you'll enjoy it more.
Truth. Wow, Pitch Meetings has an IMDb.
Of course it does.
That's awesome. So next we have
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Awesome, amazing movie.
I can't say enough good things about this film.
It's so good. It is so good. It's so good. Everyone's incredible. It's so good.
Why is it though good, Jordan? You can't just say it's
why
so
is
good.
it though good?
Why is it so good?
You said though good.
Maybe you could tell people what you liked about it.
Well, first of all, the opening scene with Cap doing his laps, and he laps Falcon,
on your left.
3 times, and you get the on your left, and we meet Falcon, and I mean, I'm always going to applaud for another person of color in the MCU. Yay, Falcon. Anthony Mackie is an incredible actor, no matter...
Altered Carbon?
Oh my god. We'll talk about that at another time.
It's a fine example of his work, is all.
Yes. He's great. He's great. You really just get to see an Avengers movie, not in an Avengers movie, basically. So, we get not Scarlet Witch. You get Black Widow.
Are you a little drunk?
No. I was saying Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Jo.
Yep.
America's ass.
She is America's ass.
She is America's ass.
You get Black Widow, and you get to see her a little bit more. She tells Cap some of her backstory, but at this point, it could be a lie. It could just be to get her to trust him more.
She's playing him
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean, they have a little flirtation, which I remember when it first came out, people were really like, yeah, Steve Rogers and Black Widow. Let's see that. And I was like,
See them fuck.
I mean, they're both like extremely attractive, but that is unrealistic as pairing.
Right. Well, I think, with,
Well, you get to see several MMA fighters in this movie.
yeah, you know what, man, that's, again, Marvel offers a lot of jobs, and GSP, who was the former champ, now retired.
Yeah, so you get to see Frank Grillo.
145, yeah, Frank Grillo, as well. You know, you get to see so many individuals that are really talented at what they do, and when you can get real tough guys, quote unquote tough guys, involved in a Marvel film, I think that's what's so amazing about what Marvel has to offer, because we have, Robert Redford as well, Sebastian Stan, Kobe Smulders, Frank Grillo, Maximiliano Hernandez, Emily Van Camp as Kate, Kate Carter, right? Kate Carter. Stan Lee makes an appearance as in every film. GSP, as I just mentioned, and what's so fun about Marvel offering so many unique opportunities is that people in production get to have their favorite fighters be in films.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's and it's only not just breeding and creating fanship, but also bringing fans, making fans of something else that's kind of unrelated, completely unrelated. It brings fans over.
Yeah.
And then, they're nerds of combat sports. So, of course,
And you already know that they pay money for their content.
it's just a conduit for more nerds to come on over and join. So, what I love what Winter Soldier did, you took individuals and producers. Frank Grillo's brother is a producer in this film. And it provided literally, so many more millions of fans. And this Winter Soldier particularly is so hand-to-hand combat centric that, of course, you would want to get some legitimate fighters involved, because the people that can tell that story the best is the people that do that job.
Another big reason I love this film is because, just like Iron Man 3, it is a direct tie-in to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey!
Not until the end, but...
Fury's big week.
The way that...
Right? That's Fury's big week, right?
Basically.
You should Google that real quick.
No, I'm good. The way that they tied in the show and the movie is... I remember because I started watching the show from episode 1 live. Like, as soon as it was aired, I was watching it because I still had cable at the time before all the streaming. And there was a week off because the movie had been delayed by a week. And I didn't know why the show was delayed by a week. And so... basically everyone was saying, like, all of the media was, gotta see.
They were reporting on it.
You gotta see Captain America before you watch this, was what was happening.
Oh,
and
epic spoilers.
I was watching, I was going to the theaters for every single movie premiere anyways, and so I went, okay, yeah, I'll see it opening weekend. And then the week after, the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tied directly into the movie, and there you had basically Community. For anyone who was on message boards who was already talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
Reddit looking at you. Looking at you, Reddit.
Looking at you, Reddit.
Hey. Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, man, he is a diverse performer. That cat, we saw when I'm Dying Up Here, right? Season 1,
Gossip
episode 1.
Girl.
That dude can do anything. You give him a script, and
he's really good at being douchey and unlikable.
But he's also really good at having
heart and a soft spot.
Presence.
Yes.
We've had many conversations about who could play Eric Draven. That fucking guy.
He is one of them.
He'd make an amazing Eric. He could. In fact, I'll go so far to say if Robert Downey Jr. would turn down the part of Iron Man, he'd be great Iron Man.
He's so young, though.
Sure. Or Spider-Man. How about that?
Too old.
But Spider-Man tends to need to be a high school student. So how about this? Batman.
Oh, it'd be a great Batman.
Joker.
Superman.
Tall enough?
He's got the face for it. He's got a nice face. You can make anyone look taller.
I feel like Winter Soldier was kind of Sebastian Stan's debut as a rebrand. He got to really do some unique things.
He would have been a good Aquaman.
Truth. Aquaman doesn't need to be big.
No.
But Aquaman should not be white. Although he is in the comics.
In the comics, he is blonde AF.
Right? And like a fucking Aryan.
He is very Aryan.
Oh my god, like what's going on here?
He's talking to dolphins.
What was that?
Because he's weird. Comic book, Aquaman is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's right.
They
He
had to
talks
do.
to fish. Yeah.
They had to make him Jason Momoa because he's like the manliest man. It was either him or The Rock,
That's true.
and they're both Hawaiian.
That's true. But Sebastian Stan really got to do whatever he wanted, and don't get me wrong, Winter Soldier doesn't talk very much,
He just looks angry.
but his body language,
His body language is
the way he moves,
his face. He's very expressive.
That dude took so much time to study Manchurian candidates, transformations, probably all kinds.
Why do you say it like that?
All kinds of mental health problems as well. He probably dove so deep into an individual that might have a compromised
PTSD and
yeah,
brainwashing.
He lost an arm too, so
and brainwashing.
I can only imagine, the amount of work that it took, and he really, even in Endgame, short amount of time, it probably took him forever to find out just how to say the lines that he had, and how to stand there, at a funeral, I'm not an actor for a reason.
At the end of Black Panther.
Where's the fight? Yeah, finding that, and how to walk and behave and even throw hay. That it's what's so fascinating about the Winter Soldier, and Bucky, because they're one and the same. Is
yes,
that
they are.
They're not. So there's a bit of Bruce Banner Hulk isms. So maybe Sebastian Stan would have made a great Hulk
if he was older, because he was pretty young.
True, and Dr. Bruce Banner is a doctor, so he's a little older.
And if you
it took forever to get there.
If you ever watched Gossip Girl, he had a baby face for a long time.
I did watch Gossip Girl.
I know, because you had girlfriends.
I did.
He's like, I was not celibate before I met my wife. I don't think I ever met
Winter Soldier. What else did I mean? What I did like about Winter Soldier was the shield aspect as well.
Well, I love that it was
was so interwoven into the story.
I felt like it was
Hydra.
I felt like it was a great puzzle piece into the entire story. It wasn't like, it's not one of those movies that you can just watch without watching any of the other movies. It's a puzzle piece, and it's a beautiful puzzle piece. It fits seamlessly.
Well, Hydra alone, that
yeah, the fall of Hydra,
the fall of Shield, the rise of Hydra.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I love Hydra, the idea of it. I don't. Sorry, as a story, I like it. Not as a real thing, because that's terrible. But as a story beat, and which is a great callback to, first Avenger. Hydra has always been here, but they realized that in order to be Hydra, they couldn't be Hydra.
Well, to a lot of people,
so they infiltrated SHIELD and every other organization, every government.
Again, we keep saying watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It delves deep into the history of Hydra, so it's an integral part. They were never just Nazis. We're not going to spoil it for you. Please watch the show. You have plenty of time staying inside your house. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's last season's coming out very soon.
Maybe, hopefully.
True.
It was supposed to come out in summer. I hope it still is. I mean, they finished filming, so I don't see any reason why the final season shouldn't come out. But everyone, if you're still listening in this time, because we're pretty deep in.
What? It's only 2.5 hours. We're not even through.
I know. But please go watch S.H.I.E.L.D. It's worth your time. You have nothing else to do. except if you have, kids and responsibilities.
Yeah. Life.
Yeah.
There's an audio version too.
No, you can work out during it. There are
Hey.
filler episodes.
Work out for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Hey, but again,
Okay.
Civil War.
No,
sorry, Winter Soldier. Fucking amazing. But that after Winter Soldier, what happens in Winter Soldier, I think, is really important because it's incredibly grounded, and the film that follows is not grounded. Technically, it's in outer space. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's kind of where I really started to pay attention. I remember when it came out, and I remember everything all the press covering it, and I really really fucking enjoyed it. And rewatching it and seeing that it's a direct connection to Endgame.
direct.
That is Infinity Saga shit right there, right?
Yeah.
Because all the Gamora, hello Gamora.
Oh, and Nebula.
The daughters of fucking Thanos.
Thanos.
Oh my god, Thanos. Oh my god.
But
Guardians.
such a big difference from Winter Soldier. A fun romp.
Well, I disagree. I think it was heavy because Peter Quill's mom dies first thing.
Well, obviously.
And it immediately sets the tone of the film that it's gonna have a lot of heart because James Gunn. James Gunn does. He does only good things, but more importantly, he's willing to put himself and leave. Yeah, he's leaving himself in. Like if we're an octagon and if it were a fight, he's leaving everything he's got in there.
I'm gonna dispute the James Gunn does only good things because I remember in the mid 2000s, probably like 2009 to 2011, that era, he had a show on MTV where he was trying to get girls to be the next horror queen, and it was a bad show.
That's funny.
It was so bad.
That sounds like cocaine.
And that was the first time I had ever seen him, and I was like, this guy's a fucking douche. And I looked him up on IMDb, and I realized he was the brother of a beloved character from Gilmore Girls, Kirk from Gilmore Girls. Anyone who has ever watched Gilmore Girls, Kirk from Gilmore Girls is in Guardians of the Galaxy because his brother directs it.
Hey, there you go.
And he's in Guardians 2 as well, and Endgame. James Gunn.
Hey. All right. Anyway.
What?
Nothing.
You can have odd knowledge, but I can't.
No.
No. You see how he talks to me?
Fuck, man. There's a lot of films.
We should have done this as a separate podcast.
Yeah, right? Holy shit.
Sorry. We'll tell people if they only want to hear about Marvel films, we'll put the timestamp below.
Well, that's just it, though. We have Guardians 1.
Maybe we'll talk about it next podcast.
13, 14 more films?
Okay, so where do you want to finish off today?
How about this? We'll give our final thoughts on Guardians, and then we'll close out with a whiskey neat. I thought this is actually perfect for this. I thought Guardians, it was the perfect halfway point before Age of Ultron, because it was.
Oh, this is also the best way to stop before we enter the last half.
Or how about this? We'll do Guardians and then Age of Ultron, and then we'll say.
Because I have a lot of thoughts
2
on Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So all right. So we're gonna do Guardians, and we'll finish with Age of Ultron.
Okay, Guardians. Nate's thoughts on Guardians.
What do you think? Start with you.
I mean, I'd been watching all the way through, so I have a very different perspective than Nate does. I loved it. Tons of levity. I don't have a lot of personal connections to loss. I've lost my grandparents, but that wasn't a big thing in my life because family stuff. But
Because family stuff?
because family stuff.
Way to make it awkward. Jesus.
It's not awkward unless you make it awkward.
You're making it awkward.
You're making it awkward. Anyways, they did a great job about building relationships very quickly. You felt a lot for all of the characters.
Yeah.
Almost as soon as they...
As soon as you meet Drax.
As soon as they hit, you adore them. Whether it's character design or acting or dialogue. Gamora is hard to like, but
Yeah, I agree with that.
you also appreciate her because she's a strong woman, if you enjoy strong women. Peter Quill, he's that doofy jock that everyone knows in high school. I married him.
You married Peter Quill?
You're kind of a Peter Quill.
Hey. I always thought I was like a, you know.
Tony Stark?
No. Well, yeah.
I married the doofy jock. I love him. Anyways, then there's Rocket. He's an asshole, but he's so fucking cute, and you can't help but love him.
It's true.
Groot is lovable because even though he literally only says, "I am Groot," you can tell that he very deeply cares for everyone around him.
Yeah, there's Groot is so much more than
It's incredible.
than how Groot is written. What's interesting about Groot is that Vin Diesel was given his own script.
He was told, "This is what it means," and you're saying, "I am Groot."
That is fucking fascinating.
Brilliant.
That's James Gunn really taking the time to, first of all, it's James Gunn, Nicole Perlman, and it's based on
Any relation to Ron Perlman?
Maybe.
Okay, we're not gonna get into that right now.
But the writers really took the time to
Yes.
flesh these characters out, and that's what, because Guardians at the heart of it is kind of silly.
Well, technically, what James Gunn did is he took the second iteration of the Guardians.
True.
They're not the first, because Yondu was a Guardian.
Well, we don't get into that really until the second film, and I think that Guardians 2 is when you really feel
Guardians 2 is
so full of
We'll
heart.
talk about that next time.
That I think Guardians 2 it bears Guardians of the Galaxy itself needs its own punctuation outside of Endgame.
Well, I think
not the third film, but a fourth film that if they really want to move on to another version of Guardians, you have Sly, you have Michelle Yeoh, Michael Rosenbaum.
Okay.
Who else was in there and what on his team?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, but I can't remember.
Why are you trying to interrupt me?
Because I was on a roll. I was on a roll with talking. You interrupted me.
Hey, that's what happens, kids.
Who I think really got the short end of the stick in the first Guardians is Nebula. She just fucking
She gets her
nuts.
Her story is told so well.
But we didn't really get to meet her. She's just like angry and crazy, and then she wants to team up with Ronan to kill her father, but we don't understand why.
Yeah, that's true. The why of Nebula doesn't make much sense.
We get the why later, but it's not like we get the why of Gamora much quicker.
Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
I mean,
We get the why is Gamora in Guardians 1. We don't get the why of Nebula until Guardians 2. Well, a little bit, but mostly we don't get her until what? Endgame. Why she hates her father so much.
no, we find out. We find out about Nebula and Guardians too.
A little bit.
When she's telling Kraglin what she wants to do with Thanos, tear him piece by piece.
Yeah, she wants to do that, but
Because all the pain that she felt every single day after she lost. Sure, and that's a bit of the problem with Guardians, is because there's so many half jokes written into dialogue that, you know, it's kind of silly, funny dialogue that it's important plot points about character development. It's really easy to miss, and that's what I think is half the problem with Guardians, that it's so silly in nature that, you know, you're trying to keep it lighthearted and fun, and, you know, hey, choppy.
you think the levity outweighs the storytelling?
The weight of Nebula's story specifically is missed, definitely.
Well,
Because
Nebula needs a Disney Plus series.
Too many jokes. There's a point to where too many jokes is a problem.
Then Nebula shouldn't be in Guardians anymore. She should be in a more serious. Excuse me. Series, because Guardians is always going to be at least a little bit goofy because that is their brand. We need levity in the series, and Guardians is that. They're silly. There's a fucking talking raccoon in a tree.
Right. I get emails from a raccoon. Nothing seems silly anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, and that's where I get caught up with Guardians, is that
Well, you like the serious.
yeah,
Batman.
right, drama. Like,
Yes.
I'm Batman. Ugh, we get it.
I can't rewatch Batman over and over again. I can rewatch Iron Man because he cracks fucking jokes.
Yeah, you know, Christopher Nolan didn't really like, you know, a ton of levity into Bruce Wayne's story.
Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of levity because Batman's story doesn't have a ton of levity. A billionaire wearing a fucking suit?
A suit? Like, why are you doing that?
Saving lives? Yeah, you can add some levity into that.
I think so, but maybe that at the end of the day is it's either silly or dramatic. And if the middle ground it's difficult to, don't get me wrong, you can navigate it, but it may not work out monetarily.
So where they do it beautifully is the Captain America films because he quips.
So does Spider-Man.
Exactly. Spider-Man has his quips. Where you have the big, heavy themes, you gotta add the quips. Oh, and I hit him with a leg, and magic with a fist, and magic with a...
Magic with a kick. Right? Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
They
That's
added
true.
the quips.
That's true. You're
Because
right.
otherwise it would be too fucking much.
What? Spider-Man getting his ass beat?
Well, no one wants to see a 16-year-old kid get his ass beat unless he's a dick. And Peter Parker is not a dick.
Only with the Venom symbiote.
Only with the Venom symbiote.
All right. Do you want to make me a whiskey neat?
Do I want to make you a whiskey neat? Because
I can do it.
I still have a cocktail.
Oh. We're gonna. So Guardians.
Are we gonna end with Guardians? Or
No. We're gonna do.
We're gonna end with Ultron.
We gotta end with Ultron.
Okay.
But Guardians. Final thoughts.
I love it. It's great. It's a must-watch.
Without a doubt, one of the most important films in the cosmic MCU. Because without it, we wouldn't understand the decimation of Xandar.
100.
and we want to understand the importance of what the Guardians of the Galaxy do for for what the Guardians do. They're incredibly important because they save planets.
We
right?
also want to understand exactly what Thanos is doing throughout the universe because he 50%ed Drax's planet, he 50%ed Gamora's planet.
Made a deal that the Kree would, if the Kree agreed after losing hard, but Thanos knew that he'd lose more. I'm sure the Kree they made a deal with Thanos.
He probably.
If you make the Kree bend the knee, then you did something right.
Since he took Nebula, I kind of wonder how many other kids he took for his army.
Kree children for their
and
DNA.
He just took a liking to Nebula and decided she's feisty. She's gonna be one of mine. I'm also gonna take this many of your kids and turn them into my soldiers, and they're gonna be loyal to me as officers.
If you don't.
Yep.
These are my terms.
Yep.
You got outside notes.
See.
And I think Guardians sets up. I wouldn't say it sets up Ultron very well. At all.
Not at all.
At all. But
It
what
was just
what it does do.
It was a movie.
What it does do, it leads to Infinity War and Endgame.
Obviously.
Because it's kind of like when you pattern, skip one, and it's threads to the next plot point, the through line, if you will.
Our touchstone is Peter Quill because he's a Terran Earthling.
Right,
No other Earths call us Earth because all Earths are Earths.
Earth is Earth. How do people like it?
Terran. I'm gonna start calling us Terrans.
Silly fucks.
Yep.
But Guardians of the Galaxy, go see it.
See.
I do suggest seeing it because IMDb. Let's see what IMDb says. IMDb gives it an 8 out of 10.
I give it a 9.
I give it a 10 out of 10.
Bow!
Channing approved. All right. Cocktails, Age of Ultron. Next one. Musical interlude.
I thought you were doing it.
I can do it.
You just said. So my thoughts on Age of Ultron before Nate gets back. Well, first of all, I gotta say, I saw this movie in theaters twice. Once with my mom, once with my best friend at the time. Both times I brought alcohol into the theater because that's the only way as an adult over 21 you should watch a movie. If you're going in to see it in theaters. We only watch movies at home at this point, so again, alcohol. But opening scene, absolutely incredible. The choreography, the fight choreography, everyone knows the scene I'm talking about, where you see all of the Avengers fighting at the same time. This Hydra army in Sokovia, and you see this beautiful pan, and there have been so many artist renditions of it, and it's gorgeous. The entire choreography of this fight scene is beautiful. We get to meet the twins. So we meet Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who, if anyone has ever watched the comics, they were originally Magneto's kids, and so they are mutants, but obviously in this series they're oh my god, Nate just did a little dance. Their powers are from the Mind Stone, which is weird. Why would Quicksilver's powers be from the Mind Stone? But anyways, we're going with it. They look nothing alike, and he now has silver hair and she has red hair. Again, very strange. But we're going with it. Quicksilver fucks up the Avengers a little bit, but not enough to really matter. I'm not doing a play-by-play by this movie, but I love. I really like this movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I'm not sure why. It was very heavy-handed, but it is a comic book movie. So they have every right to be heavy-handed with their storytelling, because if anyone has ever read comics, they do the craziest shit ever. So to put that into a movie, why are you mad, bro? Nate's back.
I was listening.
What do you have to say?
Needs a little work.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, you don't always spell everything with voice. You're like, oh, I have nothing to say, so I'm gonna...
Music break. Cheers. Bearman Whiskey out of San Francisco, California. Cheers.
They're no longer in production, but okay. Tasty.
That's so
That's a
goddamn-
tasty bitch.
That's delicious. So, I was trying to listen to what you were saying. Ugh.
Rude.
Oh, well. Why are you taking your phone? I'm pulling up, relevant content. Jesus Christ, you're a mess. So, final review for this 3 hours is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
I already said my points. I love it.
Ultron, I think, is, first of all, visually
Beautiful.
amazing. It really did look like there was an island in the sky.
Your thoughts on the first scene? That opening fight scene? The choreography?
Oh yeah, the blocking and the design. Fuck, man. Seeing all your favorite Avengers getting the Mind Scepter
At
again.
the same time.
That alone, I think, was one of the better beats of any Avengers film, because, come on, fan service.
I think they've tried to hit that at every other Avengers film. That beautiful shot where you see every single Avenger fighting at the same time in slow motion. Everyone knows the shot I'm talking about in Ultron.
Yeah, when they're jumping over the barricade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that shot is it's now
It's iconic.
I want a print of it on my wall.
Like I said, it's iconic.
And if you don't want that, then you're a psychopath.
You're not a true fan.
You are not a fan. You suck at being a fan. Why don't you support everything I like?
Oh my god, so aggressive.
Hey, kids, how you doing?
What were your favorite parts of the movie?
Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
No strings on me, of course.
There are no strings on me. Yeah.
And Cap not lifting up the hammer, even though he could.
I don't think he could at the time. I think he could, barely.
Nah, he was... Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, they said so.
Really?
Yep. Joss Whedon also confirmed it.
That he could fully lift it at the time?
But he didn't want to embarrass Thor.
So that's why he was so confident in Endgame. That he just...
Because he knew he could lift it.
That's fucking badass.
That is a good story.
Also, what a good man. He's like, my buddy has, he has low self-esteem because He's always been a god.
I don't want to take a god down a peg or two.
Like, I'm just a man, and he's a god, and he's always been a god, and so I don't want to take him down.
Why would I do that to my buddy? What are you
That's
doing?
not nice. A Brooklyn. This is not a Brooklyn accent. We're very horrible right now.
What are you
No.
What are you doing here? All right, you need to wash your mouth
No.
because this piece of pie.
You said wash your mouth. I hate it.
Fuck.
Anyways.
That's funny.
Did you like the introduction of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver?
Yeah, well,
Because I have complaints.
the post-credit scene in Civil War.
Yeah, but
Rather, Winter Soldier. Sorry.
why? Why?
Because we were trying to get mutants. Hello,
I know, but
Earth to drunk.
that's rude, and I'm not drunk. I understand that they were still working on Fox deals, but those Fox deals obviously fell through. Obviously. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Now they didn't. But now we've lost our MCU Quicksilver because they just went.
True, one-off. Yeah, the one-off of it all. That's
They fired
unfortunate.
him off.
But man, that unfortunately that's how it went. But what we can do is Scarlet Witch is, the Reality Stone. So
She is not the Reality Stone, but she has those powers. I just want to be very clear here.
I disagree. I think she's Reality Stone. If she has Reality Stone energy.
She doesn't have Reality Stone powers. She has Mind Stone powers.
Comic bookology.
She has Mind Stone powers.
Extract it from her.
Mind Stone powers.
Mind Stone?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, because Vision was the Mind Stone.
She's Reality Stone.
She's Mind Stone. Reality Stone was in nowhere.
Google it. I know, you might be right on this. Google it.
I'm 100% right on this.
Oh, boy. Ugh. Here we go.
Doot. Everything you need to know about Marvel's Infinity Stones.
Boom.
Doot. Scroll. Jesus Christ. I know this. Okay. Bup. Could you fill the time, please?
I am. Listening to you beep and boop and bop.
Beep and boop and bop.
Beep and boop and bop.
Okay.
And?
Mind Stone was in Vision,
Right.
which was from the scepter.
Right.
And the twins got their powers from the scepter. God, how dense are you?
No, she's a Reality Stone.
No.
I promise.
No. Space Stone gave Captain Marvel her powers. She has Space Stone powers. Mind Stone, Loki's scepter, gave powers to Vision and also gave powers to Scarlet Witch. It's right here.
Damn. All right. Cheers to you. You win.
Thank you. I know I'm right.
Go Dodgers.
Go Giants.
Oh. The fighting continues.
Gigantes.
So what I did notice about Avengers Age of Ultron, the sunglasses of Tony Stark.
Oh, God.
Robert Downey Jr.'s got style. We all know that.
He also has blue light sensitivity,
I didn't know that.
which is why he wears blue light glasses.
Hey. That's how you win at life. When your bosses make you the glasses you want.
Well, he's an addict, so he has to find ways to fall asleep, so he wears blue light glasses.
That doesn't make sense. Because his eyes are compromised from too many drugs. What was that?
I can't wink.
You're also a little drunk. Age of Ultron, I think it was the perfect lead into Marvel Phase 3 because the world realized the threat, that the conflict. Again, their like what Vision said, their very power incites conflict.
Mm-hmm.
The power of the Avengers breeds catastrophe.
Also, it was, besides the Chitauri, our very first world-ending villain. Because he was trying to take Sokovia so far into the atmosphere that when it dropped, it would be a catastrophic event like the dinosaurs.